They could have backed off. No, they didn't. That's where the logic always falls in on itself.
Okay, and we're giving the fans now too much credit.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's something that Baylor fans, probably a few of them, was like, whoa, La Tech doesn't want to play us, right? It kind of goes around. And in this day and age, there's nothing that's immune to what might happen. You know, I've talked to 2 or 3 different coaches today that have high school programs who have been shut down, quarantines, all of this is going on, and it's a little bit different. And it's just something from week to week. It can change without question. Now, let's get to the Cowboys. We have the Grant Taft coming up in the next segment from earlier with us here at the studios on Elm and also Martin Luther King. That's the dumbest, craziest finish, and I've seen crazy. I'm 61 years old. That is the dumbest ending to a football game that a team never should have had a chance to win, and a dumbest ending to a football game of a bunch of professional football players who don't understand the rule of an onside kick. What in the hell was Atlanta thinking?
They weren't thinking. And what do you do in the timeout? They called the timeout.
What were they
talking about?
You can kick the ball out of bounds. It would be a penalty, but they'd have to re-kick it. The one thing you cannot do is not do anything.
I mean, they watched it.
If the ball would have spun like 8 yards down, okay.
Hey, Hayden Hurst, the tight end, who's fantastic as a tight end, but he sat there, he waited like he was going to get it when it got to 10 yards. And then they had 2 guys that just kind of walked behind the Cowboys and watched it roll.
And then all of a sudden they're like, my God. And the way first of all, Zerline with the perfect kick, it had the spin, and Goodwin who made the great play. It was, could you believe your eyes when you saw how that thing developed? It was like, that's, sheesh.
I mean, yes and no. Partially I could believe it because the Cowboys do from time to time find a way to sit on a horseshoe and find a little bit of luck, and I think that's what happened yesterday. They should be 0-2. This is an 0-2 football team that's 1-1 on paper. But no, Atlanta, I mean, if not for the circumstances we're in right now, if I'm Arthur Blank, I'm firing Dan Quinn yesterday. I mean, after that game. You are lucky to be the head coach as it is with some of your missteps, primarily that Super Bowl loss that's just, I mean, quite frankly, with the lead you had, very unforgivable, especially for a franchise that's never won one. But, just that's bad coaching. That's bad coaching. That's an undisciplined football team. That's not a very smart football team. And to blow a lead like that when you were up so big in the first quarter, and then to blow the lead and then to lose it like that where you have a guy watching the football and all he has to do is field it like a grounder, jump on it, whatever. I mean, Paul, you're saying he's sitting there like, okay, at some point it crosses the 10 yards, jump on the football, and and he just kept waiting on it. I was like, what are you doing? So
like mesmerized.
Yeah,
just the spinning top of a ball, you know.
If not for the current circumstances we're in, I'm firing Dan Quinn yesterday.
You know what? Even if you went up and knocked it back 15 yards, it still makes it harder.
At least they have to run it. Yeah, and then on top of that, then as soon as Dallas recovered, the game's over.
The worst thing you could do is
still
nothing.
stop them.
I tweeted out exactly when it happened. I said, look, they have to win. If the Cowboys don't win now,
it would have been more devastating not to win the game after the recovery and the onside kick.
Atlanta just gifted it. Atlanta said, look, we've decided that this is your time.
They've done that before in a bigger stage with the Patriots just a couple of years ago.
The Cowboys are very lucky, though, because, again, they should have lost that game.
And Seattle.
Yeah, and so they're instead facing questions about being 1-1, whereas they really should be sitting there looking in the mirror going, we're an 0-2 football team with Mike McCarthy so far. We got to figure something out.
With Russell Wilson and Seattle next, right? And, of course, their defense gave up a few things as well. So that the odds of 1-1 compared to 0-2 are astronomically worse.
Well, and here's the thing, too. Seattle is not going to give up a 3-touchdown lead if they're up in the first quarter. You know, they're a smart football team. They're not going to make the same mistakes that a Falcons team made yesterday. That was unbelievable.
I don't know. We'll have Brad Sham at 525, voice of the Cowboys. Coming up next, part 1 of 2 different segments with former Baylor head coach and former executive director of the American Football Coaches Association, Grant Taft. Dave Aranda today at 4. Our high school players of the week at 4:45. And yet again, amazing depth of a bunch of crazy performances. And then also today at 3:45, Kevin Hoffman and Mart unbeaten, they get the break. Crawford and Greg Jacobs, a huge win against Holland, unbeaten, they get the break. We'll have that, plus a lot more in between. So this is Sikkim 365 Radio. So there, we hope, will be a home game coming up on Saturday evening at McLean Stadium. The tailgating, of course, is down quite a bit. because of the rules of around on the parts of the premises of McLean Stadium. We get that. So there's still tailgating. The Brazos parking across the street, across from MLK. There is tailgating there. And there might be even something that you do when you're at home if you would normally be at the tailgating where you kind of have your own home tailgating. So what do? You contact Waco Custom Marketplace. Contact them because you're home of getting customized tailgate type product, whether it's chicken or brisket or tri-tip or something else. And they have everything else you need in between, from the seasonings and the sauces and cold beer and even cold wine and soft drinks as well. And if you just want to have your own special, what you want this weekend for dinner, whether it's going to be steaks, they'll cut your steaks, whether bone-in ribeyes or fillets with bacon wrap that can be an inch and a half, even thicker than that if you want. It's up to you. They customize. Waco Custom Marketplace. That's where you find your tailgate supplies and your everyday grocery needs. 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like our free First mobile app, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. That's the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
Did you know that 1 out of every 4 men have symptomatic low levels of testosterone and don't even know it? And if you think you're too young to worry about it, guess again. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, cause weight gain, and wreak havoc on your sexual desire and performance. Petty Clinic Low T can set up same-day blood screening and results, so if you're tired of being tired, I challenge you to man up and Google search Low T Waco or go online pettycliniclowt.com. It's a private clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Affordable, only $150 a month, includes lab work, office consultation, testosterone injections, follow-up visits compared to $395 a month in Dallas or Austin, and you don't have to fight the traffic. Petty Clinic Low T as board-certified physician consultations will provide the best form of brand-strength testosterone available. Contact Petty Clinic Low T today, just off Highway 84 and Old Hewitt Drive in Woodway. Petty Clinic Low T, helping men become the high-performance men they deserve to be. PettyClinicLowT.com or Google search Low T Waco.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
This segment on Baylor Athletics on Sikkim 365 Radio is brought to you by Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, located at the Imperial Drive exit off Loop 340 in Waco. Proud supporters of all Baylor Athletics.
You know, we can't debut this studio, which we did a little bit last week with the first show on Wednesday, and then we did some of the video streaming on Thursday. But it was a standing invitation. If we're going to open this up with a guest, it has to be this man to my right, to Paul and Craig's left, the great Grant Taft. And we had, you were on the first show we did back on April the 6th. You have to be on the first studio.
I'm honored.
No, we're honored. You've heard about our dream. You had a dream when you came to Baylor back in the early 70s. Your thoughts about, just what you've seen so far?
It's going to be fabulous. I tell you, I'm really impressed. And it's so needed, Smoke. This type of first-class facilities and equipment is just what you guys need, because your show is terrific. People love it. And this is going to add greatly to it.
Grant Taft with us again on Sikkim 365 Radio and Sikkim 365 TV. What do you think about the players and how resilient they must be, whether it's Baylor or other programs who have been through everything, cancellations, somebody else, and then they, and COVID and delays? Your thoughts about young people and resiliency?
Well, it has to be there, but it has to be taught somewhere, because it's not a natural thing for a human being to go through this type of thing day after day or week after week, where there's so many changes. So they have to have something to look forward to that they can relate to, and that is their coaches, their family members, the people that are around them, how they handle the situation. It's just like anything else. If I, as a leader, as a coach, if I'm panicked about this, you better believe my team's going to be panicked about it. So I tell you, we couldn't have a better coach than Coach Aranda for our football program, because that gentleman is extremely intelligent and very, very calm in his demeanor. And I can see him handling this situation in a perfect way. And I think we'll see the same thing if and when we get football games played, because I really believe Baylor's hit the jackpot with Coach Aranda.
Coach, you were a guy, when you were coaching, with the psychology of your players, you always kind of knew what they needed to hear when they needed to hear it. How did you pick that up? Because it's not, sometimes people, coaches, CEOs, whatever, they talk to people all the same way. And sometimes some guys need to get yelled at. Some guys don't respond well to that. You had that perfect balance of, this guy, I might need to get after him, or this guy might need me to go, listen, here's what you're doing wrong.
Yeah, that's a great observation, because one of the things that I began to prepare myself at an early age to coach. I decided early on that I wanted to be a football coach, and I took the pluses and the negatives from my high school coaches. I took the pluses and the negatives from my college coaches. And then as I started to coach, then as I worked for coaches, I took the pluses and the negatives. And so what I tried to do is put all the pluses together as I became a head coach, and try to have the right demeanor, try to have the right staff. It's not so much what you can do, it's who you surround yourself with. The kind of coaches, assistant coaches you have, do they fit your philosophy? Do they coach like you want them to coach? In other words, I was a coach that allowed no profanity and didn't really want to get in too much yelling. I wanted our players to be treated like I wanted to be treated as a player. And so, therefore, what you do is you create an environment that player becomes used to. And then, therefore, when you really need to be stern about something, it means something. It's not every day out there. If I ever yelled at somebody, it was a situation where they knew this is critical, this is important.
Yeah, you got to pick your spot.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Do you remember the first player that you recruited to Baylor?
Yeah, that's a trick question. And I don't mean that facetiously. No, I don't. When I came to Baylor, it was a scramble. And we had no facilities. There wasn't a blade of grass on the football field, and that's where they worked out and where they played. So I had no practice field, and we had no field to play on virtually except dirt. So the first thing I had to do was to get AstroTurf. And at that time, it cost $250,000 to put that AstroTurf down. Well, I just got here, and I didn't know anybody. Well, an old guy from down in the valley, when I first got the job and it was announced, and he called me, and he talked like he was a very deeply embedded countryman. He said, talk very slowly, and I thought, at the time years ago there was a Clem Cadiddle Hopper on TV, and I thought I had old Clem on the radio with me, or the telephone, and come to find out he's a multimillionaire. And but what he said to me is, Coach Staff, I like your style and I like what you say. And I just want to tell you, if you ever need anything, give me a call. I thought, well, sure. Okay, thank you, Mr. Storm. Then we got here and we needed everything. And the first thing I needed was AstroTurf, and at that time it's $250,000. It's probably more than $500,000 now to do the stadium. Well, where am I going to get $250,000? I just got here. Oh, Ralph Storm called me. Hey, Mr. Storm, Mr. Grant Taft. Yeah, hey, Coach, how you doing? I'm fine. I wanted to call you because you said you could help me out. Yeah, what is it you need? I said, Mr. Storm, I need $250,000. Second time I'm talking to him. He's in Corpus Christi. I said, I need $250,000 to put AstroTurf on this field. If we're going to beat Texas, I got to have AstroTurf. Okay, he said. I said, okay. That's fine. Get it done. So I got it done. We got AstroTurf first time. Built that stadium. It was great. Worked out there, played there. Hallelujah. It was a great place.
I can't imagine the nerves. I get nervous asking somebody for $500 for advertising.
but isn't that...
I didn't know. I mean, I had to have it.
Yeah.
And he called me, and he said, if I can ever help you, let me know. Okay, I need help.
He could have said no, but you don't get a yes if you don't ask the question.
That's right.
You can't get a recruit to commit to Baylor.
Yeah, he didn't know. He didn't know what we needed.
Yeah.
But he had said to me, if you ever need anything, give me a call. I needed something, so I gave him a call.
Was there a specific player that when he said he wants to come to Baylor, and I know you recruited all the great players when you arrived, and they surely needed help, but was there one player in particular during that early time that said, yes, I'm coming to Baylor, that might have been the spark for others to come to Baylor?
In recruiting, Smoke, that is sometimes a key, that if you can get what we would refer to as a bell cow. Bell cow leads the herd. And sometimes there was a person out there that had been playing in high school that was highly respected, and if you had a chance to get him, then you had a chance to have others want to play with him. Mm-hmm. And then the more good ones you got, the more that people could see that were out there looking, hey, I think this is going to be a team and I want to be a part of it. So that's really sort of how you build the momentum. But, it was very hard to get that type of player when we came to Baylor. I had 37 players that were scholarship players on campus, Smoke, at Baylor University when I got there and had the first workout the next day. There was a line outside of my office all the way out in the parking lot. We were out at the old stadium. and all of them were there to quit.
No, I thought you were going to say they were all there to join the football team, but
No, they were there to quit. And each one came in, and I said yes. And he said, well, Coach, I think I'm not going to play more. I said, well, that's fine. Why is that? Coach, I just don't work that hard. I mean, you're asking us to be really, really physical tough out there. I just don't want to do that. I said, well, you made a good decision. Thank you. And next, and there was a parade that came through that office. And my coaches were just gasping. You know, what are we going to do? And we just did with what we had. And that was what they referred to the miracle on the Brazos when we won the championship in 3 years, is because we started out with virtually nothing. And we had to build from there. And we brought in some youngsters. I added some junior college kids that were great kids. You had to be careful with junior college kids. But these were great kids, and they came in and fit. And bingo, all of a sudden, we've got enough players, not a lot of depth, but enough players that I can put on the field that we not only can compete, but we can beat. And Baylor hadn't beaten Texas in 19 years. 19 years. And those kids beat them for the first time. And by golly, they went on and won the championship. And that was what they called the miracle on the Brazos, but it had nothing to do, Smoke, with a miracle. It had to do with coaches that knew what they were doing. I had a great coaching staff. I brought in more high school coaches. I brought in head high school coaches to fill my staff by the high percentage. And they knew all these other coaches, and all these other coaches knew them. So all of a sudden, we were in with the high school coaches. And then we began to be told the truth.
Yeah, isn't that what Matt Rule kind of did?
Yep.
Did he talk to you about that?
Yes. Yeah, and you know, the truth of the matter is, when you think about it, Smoke, that's the way that you can build, is that you can bring in quality individuals with a high upside of athletic talent, where you can teach and train and develop. And then bingo, in 1 or 2 or 3 years. Oh, we won it in 3 years. 3 years, starting out with nothing. 0. So, you know, it was the quality of youngsters we were able to bring in and the success by which, you know, we were able to play the game.
Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac. It's the kickoff savings event going on right now. All 2020 vehicles on the lot are priced to move. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. During Richard Carr's kickoff savings event, qualified buyers will score huge savings like $8,000 off on a 2020 GMC Sierra, or you can save $6,000 on the roomy 3-row 2020 GMC Acadia. Full of room and full of luxury, all 2020 3-row Buick Enclaves are $8,000 off. If you're looking to step up into some ultimate luxury and style, we'll let Richard Carr bring the Cadillac experience to you right now. Drive one of the exhilarating Cadillac SUVs like the 2020 XT4, XT5, or the 7-passenger Cadillac XT6. You can get yours today starting at only $35,900 at Richard Carr Cadillac. Big selection, great prices, free oil changes with a new purchase, plus VIP priority warranty service comes with all vehicles purchased at Richard Carr Motors. They stand by to support all of their customers with award-winning service because they are the people you can count on. A local family dealer run by Baylor alumni. They want the chance to earn your business now and with every car down the road. So stop by their daily disinfected showroom and see their safety-focused staff, or they can bring the test drive to your home because your comfort and safety is Richard Carr's first priority. Find them online at Richard Carr, that's KARR.com, or Highway 6 at the Imperial Exit.
Let's face it, some people just like driving around in the nude. Hi, Jay here from Pickup Outfitters to talk about those truck owners that know they have naked trucks but simply don't care. You'll hear them saying something like, I'm just driving around free and easy, nothing constricting me. Gross. But there is something that can entice almost any naked truck owner. leather. I mean, they kind of go together, right? And Pickup Outfitters is an authorized dealer and professional installer of cat skin leather seats. So I'm asking you to do your part and help us end truck nudity. The next time you're near your naked truck owner friend, you can say something like, you know what would really be sexy on your truck? Leather. And they'll get that sly smile, and you know you've hit them in their weak spot. Pickup Outfitters installs factory matching leather kits or custom kits in just about any color combination for your truck or even car. It's the sexy thing to do. You can be part of the problem, or you can create a commotion with cat skin leather seats at Pickup Outfitters. 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. And this football season, you need to stop by on game day for curbside pickup or stop by their tent next to Sikkim 365 at Brazos Parking for your pregame refreshment. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
Dodge is the highest-ranked brand in initial quality according to J.D. Power. Now at Allen Samuels. Get special offers on Dodge cars and SUVs. Dodge Charger SXTs are now available with 2.9% financing for 72 and no payments for 90 days. Dodge Journey has 2.9 for 72 or choose up to $4,750 in cash and subprime offers. Performance. Dodge. From Allen Samuels.
Hi, this is Mart High School football coach Kevin Hoffman, and I'm a proud listener and supporter of the all-new Sikkim 365 radio show with David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
This segment with Mart Panthers football coach Kevin Hoffman is sponsored by Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, Southwest Sports Medicine, First National Bank of Central Texas.
With all of what the team, the program, and high school football, coaches, players, everyone has been through, yeah, it's always nice to play another game, but how much is a break this week, mental or physical?
It's both for us. You know, it's been such an up and down deal all the way going back to, last March. And, were we going to be able to play or practice or start and play games or not? And then having games and losing games and not having them on our schedule and trying to find games and just the stress of all that, mentally is draining on, coaches and kids. And then, the schedule that we did end up playing these first 4 weeks, playing 3 divisions up from us, 4 weeks in a row is taking its toll physically on us. We've lost a couple of kids for 6 weeks, and we've got several kids that are just banged up and need a little time off.
What does it say, though, that through all that, you still are 4-0, and you play those teams that are much bigger than you with enrollment, and some of them you never know from year to year where they're going to be. You got pushed pretty good by McGregor in that shootout, and that's a game that they got back in it late, but that you still were 4-0. And, yeah, people expect Mark to be 4-0, but how your team handled all that.
Well, we're very glad that we're 4-0. You know, the kids have responded to some adversity and things that might not have always gone as planned. You mentioned the McGregor game, the kind of the shootout we had where we had a comfortable lead that got uncomfortable at the end of the game. But, the kids fought through that, and they continued to stay the course. And these kids are resilient, and they're tough kids. And when you flip the lights on, it's all about football. And, these kids love the game, and, but they need a week off, and I'm going to give them a couple of days off and try to recharge the batteries and get some kids healthy, and we're going to make a push.
You are still the favorite. No matter who's in your district, you're going to be a favorite to win the district title. But 3-0 Hubbard, Bremont 3-1, even Chilton and Wortham are 2-2. So everybody but Frost is 500 or better. So your thoughts as you look at the landscape of your district as you head into the bye week before that starts in 2 weeks? Yeah,
our district, overall is better than it's been in the past, and when they added Bremont and Chilton to our district, it made things a little bit tougher. Those Bremont is a perennial power in our division and have been, and they have themselves 3 straight state championships back just a few years ago. So those guys can play, and we're going to have to be ready for all of them, the Chiltons and the Bremonts and Hubbards and Frost and Wortham. They're all going to be ready to play, and they all want a chance to try to knock us off of our pedestal.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Have you downloaded the Sikkim 365 radio app? Do it today on the App Store and Google Play.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, specializing in diagnosis and treatment of any and all sport-related injuries, celebrating over a decade of service to Central Texas. They tackle all surgical and non-surgical problems that arise from an active lifestyle. Trust the doctors that Baylor trust, and when injuries sideline you, don't wait for Monday. Join us at 8:30 on Saturday mornings for a post-game injury evaluation clinic. Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. We get you back in the game.
Are you a Sikkim 365 super fan? Then try out our premium subscriptions at Sikkim365.com.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance in McLennan County takes pride in backing Central Texas football. Our agents would like to help with your insurance needs. Call 254-772-8090 for an agent near you.
Hi, this is Crawford AD head football coach Greg Jacobs, and you're listening to Sikkim 365 Radio with David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
This segment with Crawford Pirates football coach Greg Jacobs is sponsored by Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, Southwest Sports Medicine, MP Electric.
When you picked off the pass at the end of the game, and you eventually have to still run the clock out, but when you guys sealed the game, they've had your number. We know that that's a game that you're better, Crawford's better, obviously, and so is Holland. What did that win mean to a program that's had a bunch of them?
I think from the beginning of this year to this point Friday night, it showed a lot of growth in our team. We're slowly but surely becoming a team, and it solidified the fact that we are a solid football team, a team that's playing with a lot of confidence right now. And to be real honest with you, we didn't enjoy the loss that we took last year. Well, we felt like we didn't play very well against them last year, and so the kids came out all week and they were determined to perform better than they did last year, and I think they proved it.
So you held on to that for a year?
Yes. Yeah, we've talked about it. We're a proud football team, and we we usually play, with a lot of effort each and every week, regardless who we play. And the kids just felt like they didn't give the right amount of effort last year. And don't take anything away from Holland. They were a very good football team last year and this year. But we just didn't perform at the level that our kids expected, and they were bound and determined to perform at a different level this year.
Well, so then when you sit there and you have that focus for as long as you do, that's one of those things that, yeah, that's a motivation. But then if you do that and then you don't capitalize on the opportunity, that could be kind of a gut punch. So what does that say about your team?
Well, when I talked to them earlier in the week, we were going to gauge where we are as a team based on that game Friday night. And I told them that if we don't meet expectations, if we don't come out on top, at least we'll know where we need to improve, because that's the whole point with playing a football team like that in non-district, is to find out where your team is. And so I think they realized that, if they didn't come out on top, at least we know where we need to be and what we need to work on to continue to get better.
So you get the break now. You've had a nice start, and you're right. Last couple of years have been a little bit different for Crawford football. You feel like now you know where you are because of who you beat and the kind of game that you played. How big was the break at this moment? This is something normally is what would happen, but with the way the schedules are, you never know who you're going to play, when you're going to play. So how big is this break for your team?
Well, I think we're going to use this break to, take a deep breath and reevaluate ourselves and find out where we need to get better. And, I personally, I like the break at the beginning of district to give us a chance to kind of revitalize ourselves and get ready for a long run, we hope. And so, we're going to use it to our advantage and continue to try to get better.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Waco's newest gym, Halo Athletic Center, 5725 Bagby Avenue, right behind Region 12 and across the highway from the Central Texas Marketplace, where motivation, inspiration, and hard work are the driving force. State-of-the-art equipment, indoor and outdoor track, locker rooms, showers, yoga and bar classes by Duality Yoga, bod pod potty composition analysis, and registered dietitians, all under one roof, where we rise above. Come join the Halo Athletic Center and be a part of the change, your change.
Bird Culchin Ford has been in Waco since 1936. Ford, the number one selling truck in Texas, 43 years running. And Bird Culchin Ford proudly supports high school football in Central Texas. And no better way to tailgate with a Ford than from Bird Culchin Ford, our sponsor of the Ford Tough Player of the Week. Locally owned dealership, online at bkford.com at 1701 West Loop 340 in Waco. The annual tent sale's going on right now.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
It's pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
How can we help you? That's a question we ask every day at American Bank. Hi, I'm President and CEO Dana Hassel. Our commitment to our customers is what drives us. It's why we've invested in new branch buildings and technology like ITMs that let you speak to a teller face-to-face from your car. It's why we work with local businesses, helping Waco grow and thrive. And it's why decisions about your accounts and loans are made here in Waco by people who know you. How can we help you? Find out at American Bank, member FDIC.
It's the heat of the summer, but the real heat is what you're cooking on the grill, smoker, or in the oven. So Waco Custom Marketplace can be your go-to playmaker for summertime grilling. You can't go eat anywhere else? Be your own chef with custom-ordered and cut ribeyes, sirloins, fillets, New York strips with a focus on high-quality beef at a competitive price. Waco Custom Marketplace also has fresh deli cuts with sliced turkey, ham, pepperoni, or corned beef. Waco Custom Marketplace also your home for the freshest seafood in town. Salmon, shrimp, mahi-mahi, great priced chicken products, whole birds, tenders, chicken breast, and wings. Waco Custom Marketplace with smoked items unique to Waco, house-made bacon, summer sausage, boudin, hot links, and German sausage. Every seasoning for every occasion, grilling, baking, or frying. Your hometown grocery store with canned goods, pasta, fresh baked bread, buns, chips, sauce, condiments to pickles, charcoal and lighter fluid, cold beer and wine, best kolaches in Waco, mouth-watering cinnamon rolls, and here for the community every single day, helping you avoid the long lines in crowded stores, serving quality products to the Waco community. Go online for the weekly value boxes. Family owned and operated Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
46. Greg Zuerlein from 46 to win it for Dallas. Hold is down, kick is up, and it is good! Somehow, some way, the Cowboys have won it!
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house. Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
I'm still trying to figure out how a team that made a mess of themselves with special teams, 2 fake punts that did not work, how they were the ones that won the game because of another team being even more dumb or inept with special teams. Because Atlanta's kicking game was fantastic. He was fantastic.
Yeah, Young Wei Koo is fantastic, and he's got the most recovered onside kicks of anybody the last few years. And here it is. Atlanta should have needed things on special teams. It's weird how that game turned around, which happened when Julio Jones did something that Julio Jones never does and dropped a sure touchdown.
Did you see that? Did you see that play? Were you? Yeah, I thought it was somebody else. Then I realized it was Julio Jones. And then on the next series, Amari Cooper makes a one-handed kind of bat it back to him. I think Amari Cooper has the best hands of anybody in pro football. As far as making the catch, I know Odell Beckham gets all this attention. I understand he can grab a penny out of the air. I get that. But to me, Amari Cooper makes more difficult catches in the clutch. Now, he had a drop, I think, yesterday.
But he'll have some of those sometimes. But
still. And even then, they were going to lose the game, even after all that.
Yeah, if he was a synchronized swimmer, his degree of difficulty on catches.
Yeah, he could stumble and still get a great, like those gymnasts, stumble and still get a great score. So here's a stat. You sent this to me, Pablo.
Yeah.
The Falcons. By the way, this is insane.
But I'm going to tell you, before you read the stat, I'm going to tell you this is appropriate. Our former intern, Patrick Dosterling, you remember Patrick?
Yes.
He's from Atlanta. And he said, y'all remember when I was in the studio for that 10-run first inning in the Braves playoff game? Thankful I'm not there today. I hate being from Atlanta.
Yeah, rough sports town to be a part of, for sure.
It's not as bad as the Super Bowl 28-3 because that's the Super Bowl. But the Falcons scored 39 points and did not turn over the ball one time. Entering today, since 1933, Teams were 440-0 when scoring 39 points with no turnovers. 440-0 winning the game.
Now they're 440-1.
1933 leather helmets.
Yeah.
No face mask.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, about the time I was born. 440-0. You know, you saw that's the first time since 1948. It's the first time in 440 games in the NFL that somebody has had 39 points, no turnovers, and lost a game.
Well, an onside kick's not even an easy thing to do anymore.
It's almost nearly impossible.
Yeah, like it's not even like it's always been where, you know, it's never relatively easy to score an onside kick, but it was a lot easier before the rules changes. And so
what are some of the rules? You can't go down, you cannot have a wedge.
Well, they busted the wedge, you know, basically. You know, as far as like the contact and stuff allowed, things like that, but I can't get over just the amount of players that were just staring at the football and just not aware of their surroundings. And again, like all that is a complete lack of focus.
That looks to me, we've seen things in high school games like that where, you know, smoking, and I remember I had to get a control of myself because I was laughing at the kids so much, but we were doing a China Spring game against
Mahia.
No, it was Cedar Park. No,
okay.
In Cedar, no,
it wouldn't have been
Liberty,
Cedar Park.
Liberty Hill.
Okay.
And Liberty Hill. And China Spring kicked the ball to about the 2-yard line on the opening kickoff.
That was Mahia, wasn't it?
No, it was at Liberty Hill.
Okay.
And so the kid from Liberty Hill caught the ball at the 2-yard line, took 3 steps backwards, and kneeled down in the end zone.
Yeah, that's right. That was. That's exactly right.
And the referee just shook his head and put the safety sign up. And I had to, it took me about 5 minutes to stop laughing at him. And mostly I wasn't laughing at him. It was the coaches who were between, I'm going to yell at this kid and just flabbergasted of what is he doing? And that's what you see high school kids do. Or like on an onside kick, one of the pooch kicks, nobody fair catches.
I should have.
They forgot.
Yeah, I should have said this, and I didn't. When I saw that Zerline lined the ball, put the ball down without a tee, because there's still normally some sort of a tee, and I was like, that's weird. And it almost gave okay, wait a minute. There's something here. You know, these guys practice this, but the physics, they need to do, what's that ESPN show?
Oh, sports science?
They need to do a sports science on everything that had to happen. Like one little gust of a body, someone brushing it with their ink, that was phenomenal. And we keep talking about how stupid the Falcons were, and I hate that word, how inept. How about Zerline with the perfect spinning to the top that mesmerized everybody but Goodwin?
Yeah.
Everybody could have, any of the Atlanta Falcons players could have batted that thing out of bounds. They would have had to re-kick it.
Well,
5 yards.
They could have, and the onside kick was amazing. But, you know, the Falcons had plenty of other opportunities, and there were a lot of different things in that game that had to go exactly right for the Cowboys. I mean, what about Atlanta's decision on going for 2 early?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you lose by a point, and you had that decision earlier in the game. So there's a lot of things. I'm sure Atlanta Sports Radio is burning up the phone lines today.
How about the part when even in the last drive they kicked the field goal, Paul, but Atlanta threw the ball on 3rd down. And Dallas I don't think they had any timeouts left. They threw the ball, got 5 yards, they needed 9. Why do that unless you're going to go ahead and try to get the first down? If you throw an incomplete pass, Dallas saved 40 seconds off the clock.
Yeah, I think part of that's just Dan Quinn.
If you're going to throw it, then throw it.
Dan Quinn's leader, I mean, he was a fantastic defensive coordinator. He built that Legion of Boom in Seattle. I mean, that's what he did. And
Russell Wilson being he's late pick.
Yeah, but I mean the defense,
I know.
With Sherman and Chancellor and all those guys. But then he leaves, he goes to Atlanta, he gets them to a Super Bowl. But then in Atlanta at the Super Bowl, he made bad decisions.
And if he wins that one, he's forever. He's good.
If he's got a weakness, it is certainly, that. Did you just pull up? I can't even. Yeah, are you mad at Rob like I am?
Yeah, I was going to pull this up. Rob Bolton won the U.S. Open. And he won by 18 strokes over me. Paul and Craig had a couple of guys, 1 or 2 that didn't make the cut, so that eliminates them. But Bryson DeChambeau just basically sat on everybody that says you cannot win a U.S. Open with that style. Tiger's won it wailing away, but still Tiger has, thought of as cerebral. Everyone thinks of DeChambeau sometimes a little bit of a strange duck, and he is. I'll tell you when he won it, when he stared down, he and Patrick Reed played on Saturday, and he won that day.
Yeah.
Because Reed faltered down the stretch. And, man, you felt for Wolf because he was playing so well. And it's crazy with golf. You go out and shoot 65, and the next day you're not going to go out and shoot 65 unless you're playing like in the Hawaiian Open. The sunny, it's not the way it is. It's golf. It's weird. He dominated that course. He crushed everybody. And he just wails away at it. And he can hit the ball out of a cabbage patch.
Yeah. In November, by the way, Armstrong's going to draft with us. Armstrong's
are you really? Okay.
Yeah, he's a big.
All right, CJ. By the way, CJ's in studio with us. Armstrong Sims, who gave me the wrong number. I tried to call him earlier. It's like one of those things. I don't know. Some kind of a company, a storage company. Is that you?
I think you need to plug
the number.
You plug your mic in. I think you need to plug the mic in.
Yeah. We got to know. I got to hear from him because I went to call him today on the way over here, and it was like, "Hi, you've reached the Daily Storage Company," or something like that. I'm thinking Armstrong does not want me to contact him. And if he's smart, he'll never give me the number. Period. So, all right, he and CJ are working up. But it's fantastic. We're here. Thanks to some of you that were able to, those of you who were able to put up some comments about Coach Tapp being in studio. I'll tell you this. He was here early.
Yes.
And he stayed here a long time. And we're going to put up some of the other pictures in the studio that we got. Tracy, his daughter, Lane, of course, had a lot to do with this. And then Donnell, she was here. And then, of course, Coach Taff. He was on our first show April 6th, and he was on our first show in the studio here on September 21st.
I'm sure most people like this. I always feel like I've been to like a really cool lecture in college when you talk to Coach Taff. I always feel smarter when he's here.
Yeah, he has the ability to take some things and turn it into, that's kind of what he was known for, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
why he's been on all these Zoom sessions with his knowledge, his insight, his history.
Yeah, I mean, he's been around a long time. He was the head of the AFCA forever. I mean, he's got a long list of credentials, but no, it was great to have him here, and he was the first, I guess, official in-studio guest, and this place, as you mentioned, is still a bit unfinished. Maybe in a few months he comes back and he can sit on the couch and kind of recline a bit. But, who else would you rather have for your first guest? And he was great, and it was great for, him to have some family members in tow to check it out as well. And, just really, really enjoyed it. We were glad to have him, and that's the kind of thing that we're going to want to do more of, as we put the finishing touches on this place and whatnot, is we're going to have the ability, if Robert Griffin's in town, to, hey, swing through RG and, come check it out, and he'll be able to do that, or Grant Taff again, or Dave Aranda at some point, Scott Drew, Kim Mulkey, et cetera. So, we're going to have a lot of fun, and that was a very fitting first guest.
Did you know Andrew Dice Clay was going to Dallas, going to be in Dallas performing?
I knew he's back doing stuff again.
Yeah, I just happened to see that.
Yeah.
I just happened to see that.
I knew that
Grant
they were
Taff
opening
and Andrew Dice Clay.
Yeah, I know. That's a great thing. I just happened to. All right, now the NFL. I know we got to take a break. Come back with Dave Aranda. Good Lord. Saquon Barkley out. Christian McCaffrey out long term. Tevin Coleman out long term. Mostert, is that right?
Yeah.
He's out long term.
Yeah.
One of the Bosa brothers.
Out for the year, yeah.
Out, gone.
I think for the year, yeah.
Is that Joey?
Nick. Yeah, the 49ers.
Devontae Adams had a hamstring. Here goes Green Bay. They have more injuries every year, it seems like, than anybody.
So the 49ers, they have to play they played the Jets at MetLife Stadium. Guess who they play next week?
The Giants.
And
are they back there?
Yeah, back there.
They got to go back to New York twice, New Jersey?
And then Kyle Shanahan was PO'd about it. And he thinks their turf is bad. I saw a tweet from our friend Zach Gelb
I did too.
the other day where he said, all these other nice stadiums, it's a $1.6 billion dump in New York.
Well, you know what? You know who used to get that?
You've been
claim?
there. You've been there, right?
Yeah, I have. The Washington Stadium, FedEx Field.
Yeah.
People have complained about that.
Well, forget the field. That's an issue, and that's one that needs to be addressed. But, FedEx Field was, for the longest time, the absolute worst. And the Giants place is relatively new? So, isn't it relatively new? It's a few years old, so they already have those types of issues. Is crazy. But, I think that's ridiculous that they're having them travel to the same place to play a different team 1 week apart. There's no reason why they shouldn't have just stayed over the entire week. Open up some practice facilities to them. And and let them roll that way.
Well, Brandon Scherf, Washington every year, the offensive line has injuries. Now, Dallas has, forget it. They just won a game without Tyron Smith and also Lyle Collins. So Brandon Scherf is out 3 to 5 weeks with a sprained MCL.
The 49ers also might have a Baylor connection in that I don't know if he's still, he's listed. I just looked on the fantasy webpage, but JaMychal Hasty was there. Now, Jerick McKinnon is going to be their starter, but now at running back.
And the Giants picked up your former FSU guy, and Devontae Freeman was with the Falcons. So I want you to think about this. The first week, Dallas could not have had anything worse. They lost the game, and they had players get hurt, on top of who else was hurt, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it looks like they're 0-2, and Seattle's next. And in a matter of watching the Eagles, they can't. Wentz is a shell of himself, and they had yet another injury or two. And then you have Washington, who was who they are, in Arizona. And by the way, Kyler Murray's playing pretty good football with Kingsbury. And then the Giants have Barkley go out.
Yeah. The NFC East is kind of a mess.
Can you imagine where it would be if Dallas was 0-2 and a mess, and you still felt like you're in it because nobody else everyone else is a mess?
Well, you're still in it. Like, even if you are a mess, we're 2 games in, and who's to say that Dallas doesn't have some more injuries come their way? Who knows? We're seeing, I think, the natural just injuries that occur, but I think we're seeing an uptick based on how awkward this offseason was and how stunted it was. I'm sure Dallas will have their injuries as well. And you know what? They can have every break in the book. They did have 2 major injuries in week 1 in a loss. And quite frankly, yes, they should be 0-2. But for what little bit of luck that they did get, they get it every year, and it never matters. It never matters.
Is that the more frustrating part? Is that they have and you even said early when it was like 20-0, they're going to come back and make this somewhat reasonable and yet not have enough, which is really what should have happened.
Yeah. Well,
and here we are. We
even to the onside, I was like, well, they're going to have to make an onside kick. Like, that never happens anymore. They haven't done it in 6 years. So that's why I thought, yep, they're going to do it. Like, I almost text you before the onside kick because I fully expected just a normal onside kick. Atlanta falls on it, and it's over. And I was going to say, see, I told you. They made it super interesting.
Made it look, and then you pick one play or the other. All right.
And that was as bad as they've played as a team in the first quarter.
Yeah, that reminded me of a 49ers game back when they were both nuclear powers, and they turned it over early. Merton Hanks ran back a fumble, and they had a couple of picks.
That was the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, it might have. I don't know. It was a regular season game at Texas Stadium.
Oh, okay.
But that kind of happened where they were down. They eventually came back and made it close, but the 49ers had too much. All right, when we come back, every week I get a chance to visit with Baylor head football coach Dave Aranda right after his Big 12 media session and right before his presser. That conversation with Baylor head coach Dave Aranda is next on Sikkim 365 Radio. I got to figure out who it is. Greg, did I write that down, that list? Right here. Here it is, right here, Paul. Here we go. PettyClinicLowT.com. PettyClinicLowT.com. Dr. Kent Petty can help you become the high-performance man that you want to be. How? Call him. Contact them. Go online, pettyclinicalot.com. Tell him Smokey sent you. He will set you up to get your blood work. He will set you up to go get your blood drawn. He will then get the blood results, break it down, and then be in touch with you. And if your testosterone levels are too low, he can put you in a program to help raise your testosterone levels so you can be the high-performance man that you want to be. What does all that mean? You're kind of sluggish. You're lethargic. You don't sleep well. You're kind of ugh. And then possibly as well, it could be even ED or sex drive. All of the above could be affected by low testosterone, and you can find out. You may say, I'm a little bit too young for that. Go get your blood work. It gets at a discounted rate. Tell him Smokey sent you. Check the numbers. And if you're fine, you're fine. There's other things he can look at as well. PSA screening, that's part of that blood work as well. But bottom line is if your testosterone level is too low, and maybe that's how you have felt that there's something missing, he can put you in a program to raise the level and you become the high-performance man that you want to be. PettyClinicLowT.com.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recalled drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com, principal office in Houston, Texas.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
After my first car accident, I feared the biggest damage would be to my wallet. I expected a mountain of bills and a long, drawn-out process. But my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent was there when I needed her and helped me get back on my feet and in my car in no time. Instead of a hassle, I got reassurance and a quick recovery.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
This segment on Baylor Athletics on Sikkim 365 Radio is brought to you by Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, located at the Imperial Drive exit off Loop 340 in Waco. Proud supporters of all Baylor Athletics.
Dave Aranda with us on Sikkim 365 Radio. Are you starting to wonder if you'll ever coach your first game as a head coach?
No, but it was a hard pill to swallow, though, for sure. Everything that went into that game and just the preparation, and I can't tell you how many guys just afterwards, Friday night, Saturday, just texting, calling with the majority of the team, just how many were saying, Coach, I was ready to play. Just this one's kind of a dagger, and all of that is real. I mean, you felt it in the room when you talked to them, and so it's it was a hard day, but we bounced back, and so yesterday was a great workout, a lot of energy and excitement at the meetings. I thought were great, and so this team just continues to impress, and the leadership of the team, and we're looking forward to a really good week.
I was going to ask you, how much more can a team take? Young people are very resilient, probably more so than even those who are older. but you've had delays, you've had the unknown, you've had an opponent cancel, then you cancel, and now you have a game in 6 days. Sometimes you look at young people and you say, man, they are as resilient as they can be?
Yeah, it's a good question. I thought that just for a minute to myself there on Friday. Prior to that team meeting, I was, I wouldn't be truthful if I didn't say that crossed my mind. And so, it's amazing, just the leadership of the group, the type of character that we got on the team. I think right away, there was a time when this decision had to be made, and I remember I talked to kind of the leadership group, and Charlie's on there, Terrell's on there, Christian Morgan's on there, there's a couple other guys, and we're talking about all of this, and it was hard, and you could see the emotion. It's a group FaceTime chat, and we're all seeing each other there, and that was a tough one. But the text that I got afterwards, and Coach, we got to do we got to do what we got to do, and if this is what it is, and we got your back, and we're supporting you, and we're all in. We'll make it work, and it's just it gives me strength. There's times where I could use a little, and I know that I think as a team we've. Having not played a game yet, we've been in some situations where I think it's been a give and take, and I certainly appreciate that.
You have said from the beginning how proud you were of the team being smart, mature, handling the situation, understanding the so-called kind of the bubble. Was this any kind of indication that anybody got loose, or is this just one of those things that this stuff is there and you're going to get it no matter what you do?
I think it was the latter. Yeah. So I think if it was the first instance, it would be a little bit more of a, hey, these are things that we can do better. These are the protocols we have in place, and this is the reason why we have them in place. But there really wasn't that, and so I think, when you do have a game postponed like we do because of COVID, then you're obviously going to look at everything you're doing, and you're going to improve on it. So we are, taking the time to make sure that our masks are on when we're teaching, that we're socially distanced when we're teaching, that our sidelines look the way they're supposed to look, and but I think it was really one of those things where there's a collection of this and that, and there's probably some bad luck in there, and then there's COVID in there. And so, we had a position group get hit, and we couldn't rebound from it. So, I think we'll be better off for it. I know we will. And, I know both coaches and players are very focused on the right practices and the right ways to move forward.
Yeah, it's just one of those. This is a football, or coaches, or control what you can control. Do you feel like the position group will get people back in time? Obviously, you have a game against Kansas on Saturday. Do you feel good about being thicker or deeper on the depth chart by the time, or is that going to be a touch and go throughout the week?
Well, we had a test yesterday, and so we'll get those results today, and then we've got 2 more tests on Wednesday and Friday, and so, you can, those things were like everybody else. We're at the mercy of those. Now, I know I feel good about what I'm anticipating with those results, but I can't necessarily predict it. But I know that we've got guys coming back from guys that were off and not with us that are coming back at that particular position this week. And so I feel good about our depth from that perspective. But we're hoping for really good results coming back in.
Les Miles, hired you when you were at LSU. What's it like to face him now as a head coach?
It's it's humbling for me. Les one of the most genuine, compassionate, just real guys I know. Just the family's just real, man. So like when I was hired, they had us over to eat at his house, my family, and his family hosted, and his wife Kathy is just amazing, just so humble, and Les that way too, and his kids are just great kids. I know, Ben's playing for him now, and his daughters are his biggest fans, and I think they were not trapped by any of the, I don't know, the stuff sometimes that gets coaches and their families, and they weren't trapped by any of that. And I think especially there in Baton Rouge, sometimes you can get trapped. And I noticed that right away, and Dion, my wife, did too. And that these people are just, they're just like us, man. And so it was really, he's a treasure. So it'll be good to see him there at the 50-yard line in the beginning.
There was a hype video, and there was a quote from you, and I tried to write it down. I'm not sure exactly if I did it right. Always, this ain't the end of the story. Think of it where I began. This is where I start. This is my time. And those were your words. Does that play out this week now more than ever?
Completely. Yeah, completely. I think, to always look at something and as never as this is final, as never as this is the end. And I think whether it's, it's looking at yourself from a player perspective or looking at yourself as how I can improve as a person, how can I be a better person, I think you're always looking, always learning and always growing. And how can I strive for growth? And I think to do that, it's not about it's not about actually what it's about being open and learning everywhere you can. And I think we've got a lot of guys, myself included, that are in that position, and we're looking to do it.
If you have a position group and somebody can't play because they have been told they can't play, they've done something where they've been suspended, but if that player was to play and allowed you to play, would you ever think about changing your mind, or do you have to stick to what you believe in as a coach and as a disciplinarian?
Yeah, I would stick to what whatever the rules were and whatever we believe in and whatever we said before, and so I think there's always going to be situations that arise, and I think this is one of them. There's been a few situations that have come up lately where right away I think to myself that, hey, this is all about who we are. This is all about, it's bigger than whatever it is, and sometimes it's hard to see past that, but it's bigger than this. This is about who we are, and I think getting those things right all the time is important, but I think especially early.
Defensive position names. Is there a thesaurus for coaches that come up with, I'm old enough, I'm 61, where Mike was middle linebacker, Will was weak side linebacker, but now there's star, there's jack, there's creepers, there's all of this. Do you guys just dial up some thesaurus when it comes to naming, or could it be where you are, the school, the city, the name, whatever?
Yeah, I think guys just, they feel comfortable with. We had a talk with this earlier. So there's in playing Kansas, they run what I would call is buck sweep and on offense, and I think a lot of Kansas offense runs or offensive plays or offensive running plays are really designed to attack kind of a tight front. So zero nose, 2-4 eye techniques, guys that are lined up right on the inside shade of the tackle, B-gap players, and, their defense is a tight front. And, ours is a tight front, and LSU is a tight front. And so a lot of their run game are, tight front beaters. And so one of them is buck sweep, so they got tight end down in a down location, so there's 3-point stance, and he blocks down and seals the near linebacker, and both guards pull, kind of like the old, it'll look like the old Green Bay Packers play. and the center will reach the nose, and the the tackles will reach a 4-eye and flip a 4-eye. And so we were talking about today, like I've always used the term buck sweep with that, and I was talking with Ron, he calls it pin and pull. And so, Ron, that's fine. Let's call it pin and pull. But I think there's you come up with how you come up with all of it, what you're used to, and you talk about that stuff so much that it just becomes part of who you are, and it's just you want to feel comfortable in your language, but there is a fair amount of language though, and right away when people talk, I know the school they're coming from or the coaches that they're associated with because of the language, per your point.
One more thing. I brought this up with you every time I've spoken with you about a coach, someone who's been a coach or someone who is still a coach, and what they have said about you. And one of them, obviously, I've mentioned a couple of times with you, and you have mentioned him as well, as Tony Dungy. I mentioned the quote last week from you about you making sure that you stay who you are, because you have a similar kind of personalities than Tony Dungy. And he talked to you about, listen, you just have to make sure you stay who you are. I put that quote up. He responded and said, Coach Aranda is the real deal. The Bears are going in the right direction. What does that mean to you?
Oh, it's pretty cool. Coach Dungy is he's a mentor to me. He is what I aspire to be. I think, when I talk with, whether it's players, former players of his, when I talk to coaches just out in the community, just in the coaching community, and they see how he does it and the type of impact he has, not with how loud he says a thing, but with the fact that he cares, that it matters deeply to him, that he's in for it for the good of the person, not for the effect of the player. And just the impact that has, you don't have to be loud to have that type of impact. And so I think there's guys that I think, see that and respect it. And for me to have him as someone that I can call and talk to is huge, and it's humbling.
Can you imagine, this is it, that a team is more ready to hit the field than Baylor this week after?
Yeah, it's we've talked about it quite a bit since moving on from Friday. Is what does it look like when you've been practicing this long and not play a game, and and how you have to manage that. And I think we're trailblazing a little bit here, and so I feel good about the ideas and the input we've gotten from everyone, and I think we've got ourselves a really good plan going into this week. And Kansas is a good team. Offensively they're creative, and defensively I know DJ and he'll be up for this one, and they'll give it their best shot. And so it's playing on Saturday night is going to be, I know, a huge motivator, and so we're excited, and we're ready to attack the week.
Baylor head football coach Dave Aranda on Sikkim 365 Radio.
Are you in the market for a new home? Are you trying to sell the one that you're in? Well, you need a realtor who knows the lay of the land. Someone who is going to listen to you, who's going to hear the things that you know you need for sure. He's going to add the things that he knows that you need, and you're going to find that perfect dream home. That's my friend Lance Donaldson and the Donaldson family team, brokered by eXp Realty. Let them be your go-to source as you search for that perfect home. Call Lance at 254-214-3713 or online, lancedonaldson.exprealty.com. Lance is, like I said, he's a great guy. He's a fantastic listener. He's going to hear everything you have to say, and he's going to be your buddy. He's just gonna like Jedi mind trick it into that perfect home. He's fantastic. He is one of the best guys just to hang around, and you're going to want to have a good guy to hang around with, because you're going to be looking houses. That's something that's very personal. You want somebody who's fun, who's going to take you, who's going to enjoy the process with you. That's Lance Donaldson. So give him a call, 254-214-3713, or online at lancedonaldson.exprealty.com.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
Don Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don Humidor in the Townwest Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Boots add protection. Good boots help you climb better and move forward faster. And when your son or daughter steps into the boots of a U.S. Army officer, they also learn how to lead. In these boots, they'll gain more confidence with expert training in one of more than 150 occupational specialties. In these boots, they'll stand a little taller and lead a team with diverse backgrounds and areas of expertise to successfully accomplish whatever challenge comes next. In these boots, they'll earn respect with valuable experience from day one that will give them solid footing for success into the future. Highly qualified candidates who earn a spot on our team can receive comprehensive health care coverage, college tuition assistance, and a bonus of up to $40,000. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
After my first car accident, I feared the biggest damage would be to my wallet. I expected a mountain of bills and a long, drawn-out process. But my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent was there when I needed her and helped me get back on my feet and in my car in no time. Instead of a hassle, I got reassurance and a quick recovery.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. The Central Texas Players of the Week is brought to you by Bird Culchin Ford.
All right, back in our studios, 101 Elm Street. The Cadillac Moment also coming up, brought to you by Richard Carr Motors, one of the best plays, or the play. We'll start to mix in Jeff Hume, the head coach at Midway, Ray Biles of Lorena, Scott Stewart of Temple, among some other coaches, as the big schools, 5 and 6A, start either having their scrimmages, although they had some last week, and some will start playing games for real this week, depending on what counties they're in. And then everybody, you hope, barring some kind of setbacks, will all be playing. Everybody will be playing in a couple of weeks. Don Hyde and La Vega. Now, how long did they fight to just piece together a non-district schedule? Remember,
Weeks.
guys, when McLennan was shut down, then they were back. They were going to play Connolly this week, a second time after week 2. And then Connolly had to get rid of that game, which was probably smart. Not that they didn't play them tough. They did 13-10 because their district moved everything up. Well, then all of a sudden, Don Hyde fights a fifth non-district game against All Saints out of Fort Worth. Come to find out now, District 5, District Class 4A, District 5 Division 1, they're now moving their district games up a week to get a bye at the end in case they need it, and they have to now drop the game with All Saints.
That's already really tough for high school kids. Now I know they may be able to find somebody here in the next day or so that doesn't.
All Saints has already found somebody else. There's somebody else, some other private school.
But La Vega might be able to.
No, they're not going to play.
They're not going to play at all. So.
No, because they're moving the schedule up. So so they'll take a bye week now.
Yeah, okay.
And then they'll have their district play.
Well, welcome to the 5 and 6As. We've been at it for a month now, so welcome to the party.
Kind of like the Big Ten.
Yeah.
You know, right? Just kind of like the Big Ten. Hey, I'm still blown away by that Falcons statistic. 440-0. Just crazy. Now, high school football. That was the La Vega story, so that's the update there.
So that's already one of our pick'ems that's taken off for this week. We've had on average like 3 or 4.
Let me see if I have that on there.
I'm not sure canceled. I'm pretty sure you had that game on there. Maybe not.
Yeah, I do. Of course I do. Yeah, we've had 3 and as many as 4 games that we have on pick'em. Sometimes we didn't know until Friday. Now, we'll also have, start having Tyler Holcomb of Riker. That'll be pretty soon as well. So here are the high school football players of the week. On offense, West running back Trey Yannick, 18 carries for 301 yards and 4 touchdowns. And I thought this was one of the more impressive wins. Whoever would have won this game would not have been a surprise. Rogers, of course, coming off a nice win recently, and they beat Rogers 35-29, hung on at the end. Great win for David Woodard and company. 18 carries, 301 yards, and 4 touchdowns, the offensive player of the week.
That is a heck of a yards per carry. I don't know what his 4 touchdowns were.
That's almost 20 yards a pop.
Yeah, as far as I don't know what his 4 touchdown runs were, but man, 301 yards on 18 carries. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't think I had that in the list that I got from them.
I might be able to find it.
Defensive player of the week. Jacob Baker from Gatesville. They had not won since early on in 2018. Remember last year they were 0-10, Luke Howard's first year. He had 2 interceptions, but the most important one came with just over a minute to go in the game as they beat previously unbeaten Hillsborough 22-16. We had Hillsborough's head coach, remember, last week, and they were 3-0. He talked about, can we sustain it week by week? And they go and lose to Gatesville 22-16.
Well, I did find that on Trey Yannick, 46, 40, 41, and 32 were his touchdown runs. So still ran for a bunch of yards despite the TDs. But, yeah, that was, in hindsight, Hillsborough man, that's one you really would have loved to have won, obviously. You had some good things going, at least to start off the season, but that's tremendous for Gatesville. They haven't won a ball game in a while. I remember when we were forever on the, who was it? The Waco school who can't
University.
Yeah, gosh, I was thinking Robinson, Connolly, everybody, but University. But I was like, forever we were waiting on University to win a game, and now we don't even look at that anymore. But Gatesville was on a run. I mean, as far as having not won a ball game, so good for them. But yeah, that's a brutal loss for Hillsborough at the same time.
Now, a young man who had a tremendous overall game, Nathan Castro from Bynum. That's 6-man football. He had 51 yards passing, 2 for 2 completions, 27 carries, 259 yards, 3 touchdowns. They beat Trinidad 74-38. He also, on the defensive side of the ball, had 2 interceptions, 10 tackles, a caused fumble, and a 63-yard return of an interception for a touchdown. But he's going to be named our special teams player of the week. He had a kick return for 65 yards against Trinidad.
Wow, but
what did he not do?
the kid from Franklin, though, Bryson Washington, also had a great game on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, Bryson
Maybe we
Washington,
need to add that.
286 yards, 3 touchdowns in the win against Troy. But on defense, he had 14 tackles, a pick, and 4 batted down passes. The Texas built Ford Tough statewide, which right now they're doing 2A, 3A, 4A, eventually 5A, 6A, and in private schools as well. I don't think they do 6-man, which is kind of surprising to me because Castro would have been up for it. And it's the overall thing. Now, you could have 28 carries for 380 yards rushing and 6 touchdowns and win it. But, man, are there some great overall. And Castro or Washington would have been up for that as well. Maybe we should add that as just the overall because of so many players that do it on both sides of the football.
Well, yeah, especially when you get to the smaller schools, right? Like a Rodrell Freeman at Mart, he's doing something on offense, but he's also doing something on defense and probably on special teams. And, yeah, you don't see that as much in the 5As, 6As, but you definitely see a lot of – I mean, shoot, Connolly, I wanted to bring them up because we had that game on Friday, and they're now 2-2. So they got a much-needed win on Friday night and a hard-fought victory, but Kavion Gaither never takes a play off. I mean, he's playing every single snap. LaMarcus McDonald has dabbled playing. There's a lot of guys playing both ways.
LaMarcus McDonald made the 2 biggest plays of the game, a long touchdown catch from Kavion Gaither and the big stop. Yeah.
Interesting how he played well last week.
Yeah, but, I mean, that's a group of guys there, Gaither and McDonald both, who could have been that guy. Maybe not Gaither last week. He didn't have a bunch of numbers, but, he was playing quarterback again, starting quarterback now. Once again after starting off at running back, and that was a much-needed win for them. Great way to close out the non-district, and now they get a little bit of a break to kind of regroup and, lick their wounds a little bit and get ready for this long stretch. But, certainly that was a good victory for them on Friday, and we were happy to be on that broadcast.
All right, so we do offense, defense, and special teams. A couple other offensive players. Luke Bradshaw, you know who his father is?
Terry.
No.
Sam.
Paul.
Oh, okay.
Sam Brett is S11's kid.
Liaison in Baylor athletics administration, quarterback at Bosqueville, 284 yards passing, 5 touchdowns, ran for 58 yards and a touchdown. They doubled up Riesel, 52-26. You mentioned Bryson Washington as one of the bigger names. Brett Hoffman, the quarterback at Buffalo, 426 yards passing, 6 touchdowns, and also 63 yards rushing. He spread the ball around to 8 different receivers, which you don't see a lot of in high school football, and they beat Teague 45-9.
If not for Trey Yannick existing this week, he might have been my pick for player of the week.
The one I mentioned, Hoffman, he was huge. And then also Robinson got a much-needed win as they win. Beat Fairfield, and Brian Kay, the running back, 217 yards on 21 carries, 10 yards a pop, 3 touchdowns in their win against Fairfield. McGregor's Chad Lorenz, 24 carries, 200 yards, 3 scores, also caught a touchdown pass, and they beat Oak Ridge out of Arlington 41-23. There's always, I'm telling you, I put this up on my high school website, and then this week I did not have time to put it up a link on Sikkim, and I try to do that every weekend so we get more people, more eyeballs, more votes. But that I'll try to do that tonight because the one with my website, it runs through Wednesday. This one with our show, we give that out today. And everybody gets the ballot. They get it back to me, and then we announce it. Now.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
Sikkim 365's Richard Carr Cadillac Moment with Central Texas High School Football is sponsored by Cadillac, where exceeding expectations is the standard.
I like it. Very well done. Armstrong still has not explained why the number he gave me was a non-working number. Jeez.
He's on a group text.
Are you hot yet?
Am I hot? Yeah, I think I am actually. Yeah.
Oh, listen to you talking about yourself that way. CJ and Armstrong, and you cannot imagine the energy behind the scenes. And CJ, was he here last week?
He came to our house, my house.
That's right. I forgot that.
Our house.
I hadn't seen you since the last time we did the show. Great to have you as well. But Armstrong, you gave me a number. We ought to dial it on the air. It's a storage company.
What?
It's a storage. Where is it? It's a storage company.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you do know exactly what I'm talking about.
No, because I sent a response back to the group text, and it shot back and said, "This is not a working number." And I said, I sent a message, and I said, "Hey, who is this number? This is not a working number."
Can you call this number?
So, I think you had the wrong number.
All right. Go ahead and pot up that Bluetooth.
I know one thing is as soon as Armstrong's correct number gets in there and he's a part of like 6 different group texts, he's going to wish that he really hit it.
Yeah, no, seriously, don't give me – Okay. You dialing it?
Hold on.
All right.
I'm on the Bluetooth.
Okay. All right. If your phone rings, then I'm going to be even more frustrated because it means you blocked me. Okay.
Thank you for calling Smart Stop Self Storage, the smarter way to store. This call may be recorded for quality and training purposes.
There you go.
Storage.
Armstrong.
Smart storage.
That breaks my heart.
I have his
got to
number.
delete the number. Okay.
Smart storage.
Give it out on the air.
Yeah.
No, do not do that. Do not. I beg of you.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Now, you beg of me.
Oh, you have.
Don't-
I see what you did.
What?
I see what you had. You had one number. Off.
Okay. It's kind of like
I had
did.
a number off. Did I have a number off or did
No,
you?
it was
No,
probably
he
me.
did.
It's like J.D. Walton. Remember, I couldn't get him to answer me, and it was like the last number was 7, and I had 6, and he was like, some guy that's not J.D. Walton was this guy's creepy. All right, so the Cadillac moment brought to you by Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac. Hillsborough, we just mentioned this game, and we mentioned Jacob Baker as our Defensive Player of the Week. They had 4th and 8 from their own 32-yard line, and they tried the deep vertical to a single wide receiver. Jacob Baker came down with the interception to seal the game. He also, that was his second pick, he also had 10 tackles, 6 solo. The interception gave Gatesville their first win since week number 7 of the 2018 season. So every week, offense, defense, special teams, and the moment or the Cadillac moment setting the standard with a play that wins the game for you.
Yeah, and that's fantastic for Gatesville. I feel so fired up for them. That's great.
Yeah, that's a big win for them. And, Cadillac is obviously a very quality brand, and I like to think that we're the Cadillac of high school football coverage because even though we're in a studio surrounded by Baylor things, that's obviously going to be a focus, being a show on Sikkim365.com. We're going to have the best high school football coverage in the entire area, radio, TV, print, what have you. A lot of people in our media industry that I respect, and I don't slight them in any way by saying that. I know that. And so, yeah, if you're maybe a new listener who's tuning in, you're like, oh, it's just going to be all no, we're going to have plenty of other things to talk about as well. Have Cowboys coming up here. I did want to touch, though, on a couple of the results from Friday night and just get y'all's kind of random thoughts on this. Obviously, Argyle 35, La Vega 7.
Yeah.
We saw La Vega a couple weeks ago, and they're a good team, but that was a interesting final score there.
Argyle has now scored nearly 90 points combined against Pleasant Grove and La Vega. That's impressive. And they've beaten La Vega in the regular season before, but the postseason, La Vega will always have 2015 scoreboard. And that game went down to the wire with a quarterback keeper with a half a minute left in the game. So they've had that's a great series. And Argyle, man, I don't know the rest of the year, barring something, they might meet again. I got a feeling La Vega might see, if they keep winning, they might see Springtown in the semifinals again because Springtown's only going to get better because we saw what they did a couple of weeks ago, and they were kind of in and out with some of the, well, at least they said they had some players that were out.
I don't.
They didn't have the ones that we were told. But
I don't think they missed anybody all that much that night.
Well, as long as they have that quarterback and then they run that defensive scheme they
punter.
run.
Oh, the punter, man. Let's go to SMU. And, Sonny Dykes has got himself a good one.
All right. Speaking of which, okay, so that's one. There's no question. That's now, La Vega without Rawls III, that's going to be, he'll be okay maybe if they end up playing again, but they got to get him back and get into a rhythm. Okay.
Salado, nice win over Mejia.
Wow.
40-21.
I talked to 3 coaches about this game. I talked to Tristan, the head coach at Mejia, who plays China Spring this week. I talked to Salado's Alan Hare, and then I talked to Ronnie Porter, who had played both of them. And Ronnie Porter said he thought at the time, based on what he had seen earlier, Salado beat Troy, and then Mejia, remember, beat Troy. And so he thought that maybe Salado, the difference would be their defense and the fact that they're much more accustomed. But I'm telling you, everyone's talking about what Mejia might do once they get this down with the players they have. But, yeah, that's a nice – Salado right now is the second best team in District 9 4A Division II. China Spring, Salado, and then Conley based on consistency right now.
Yeah,
through the first 4 weeks of the season.
Salado's dangerous, and if you can hold the ball in the slot T like they're going to, and then not let anybody score.
Well, no, they've given up a bunch of points,
but like if you can start,
that was a nice win for them.
Thought it was also interesting to see Lorena with a nice win over Madisonville, 56-26. I know a lot of us, including myself, picked Madisonville in that game, but Lorena, I guess. A lot of us questioned, the kind of herky-jerky way the season's gone and whatnot, but
smoked them. What was it, 56-25?
56-26.
You know what? I spoke with Ray Biles. I don't think we're going to have room for that today, are we?
No.
We don't?
No.
Like right now?
No.
That was so quick
right
to
now.
know. That was so quick to know that I know for a fact we have no time to do that.
Like
absolutely
at
not.
this particular time.
Nope.
Go ahead, so we can finish this out.
All right, Ray Biles, they had to bring up about between 3 and 5 players off the JV, and they had some players. They got some back last week after COVID, and then they didn't get everyone. They had some JV guys. He said the only way they will not play a game, and remember the game 2 weeks ago was canceled like at 5:30 that afternoon, so I'm sure Dana Holgerson was mad about that too. The only way he said they would not play, even if they knew going in that they may not be able to compete, was if he had to have 14-year-old freshmen thrown into the fire where they would be up against people who would just physically not be smart. And so they had 28 or 9 players suited up on Friday in that win. They normally would have 40.
Yeah. So that you can do, like, they've dealt with that before. Ray Biles has
China
dealt with.
Spring is facing part of that this week.
Yeah, I mean, teams, they've dealt with 30 players or 29 players out of 40. You know, you have injuries or eligibility or something like that all at once.
They had also, one of the things I noticed is the 2 teams that had the week off last week both came back with a vengeance and won games, and including the one with Lorena.
Yeah, just run through a couple more of these. Belleville had no problem with Rockdale, 42-14.
Rockdale's given up a lot of points lately.
Big win for Franklin, 42-27.
There's the other one that
over
bounced
Troy.
back from being out because, they had played Lorena.
Yeah.
And then they lost their game, I think was against Hearn or whoever it was. And Franklin, that Bryson Washington had a huge game for Franklin.
It's going to
First
be
win, I think, for Mark Fannin as a head coach.
Yeah.
Is that right?
There's going to be some teams that are going to be really good in like the next 2 weeks that don't look good right now because of everything that's gone on.
Yeah.
So, and I think, and we've said that this is the case through high school football, college football, the NFL. We're going to have to adjust what we think of a good season this year because there's going to be some teams. There might be a team that's in the Super Bowl this year in the NFL or a team that's in the state championship. Then in this first month doesn't look right.
Yeah. Then and because of just delays and they're just not being able to get it together.
So only one other game I wanted to mention. I mean, we, Mart rolled Whitney. They kept on winning. We've mentioned a lot of the other ones. Robinson getting a nice win. But one game that was a very interesting final score, Crawford 13, Holland 8.
Yeah.
That was a nice little slow-scoring victory for the Pirates.
I feel good because I've spoken to Brian Bell. Their game was canceled. Ray Biles, their win against Madisonville. And then also spoke with Greg Jacobs, who we had on earlier today in the same segment with March Kevin Hoffman. And he told me, and if you guys were able to listen to it, he said they've been thinking about the game against Holland from a year ago for the last year. And I said, isn't that kind of dangerous? He said, yeah, there's a little dicey thing there, is if you do that and then you don't win or you play poorly again, it could kind of like you lose a little bit of that little something to it. He said, no, we've been wanting that game, and there was an interception at the end of that game that was kind of like the one we mentioned earlier with Gatesville that sealed that game. Brad Talbot and Holland will still be good. They'll be fine, but that was a nice win. Crawford has kind of been, for them, the last couple of years, just not quite what we've seen for 25 years.
Yeah,
but that's a nice win.
But Holland, there's another team that's waiting to get Holland too, and that's Mart.
Yeah.
So because I'm sure they've thought about that as well.
Well, they're not in the same division anymore.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, Mart's 2A, Division 2, and Holland's Division 1, and Mart's off this week.
Okay.
So they're not going to end up there.
Be waiting a while to get
yeah. Well, and what Holland last year, who was it that was the Refugio? Refugio's the one that knocks him out like the last 3 of the last 4 years or so.
Yeah, and unfortunately we did not get to see how that Lexington-Cameron Yeo game would have turned out, obviously.
Now you've got Lexington-Franklin this week, and that is a really interesting matchup.
Lexington the last couple of years, I mean, of course, last year they had that mass suspensions that they had for the first couple
eligibility
issues the first couple of weeks, and then when those guys got back, they went from being a team that couldn't score, couldn't stop anybody, to a team that was just roughing people up.
They all of a sudden, I think it was Clifton, for just off the top of my head, Clifton, and they just kind of rolled him, and I was like, whoa, what happened? I even talked to Chuck Caniford. He goes, that running back Kern. He's not the only one, but of course he's been able to play all year long.
I was doing Caniford's show at that time, and he said, look, I don't know. He's like, I don't know if this kid's going to play. And he's like, nobody in Lexington's going to tell us if he's eligible again. He's like, so we got to prepare for him. But
he's got offers from everybody, Division I, and he'll get more even before it's all said and done. That was good, Craig. You going to do that every week?
I can. Yeah, I can.
There we go. New segment.
Well, you mentioned I mentioned Lexington's going to play Franklin this week. Longview and Temple.
That'd be good.
Is one of the better games this week.
First Longview team without Haynes King in a while.
You think?
God, it seems like 6 years. He's like Baker Mayfield.
You think that's why I've put in 2 calls to Scott Stewart and I haven't gotten a return yet?
Yeah, he's a little. Hey, and speaking of which, Longview had their scrimmage last Thursday, and I don't know if I mentioned this on Friday or not. They and Texas High, they got into they started having a brawl. John King, remember I said they ran gassers for 30 minutes? Mm-hmm. He's not happy. Let me tell you something. John King went Cajun on him. He went deep country crawfish on his football team. The other one of interest, North Shore and Shadow Creek. There's a little Baylor interest in that one because of drones.
There's a lot of Baylor interest, yeah. The quarterback is Shadow Creek's Baylor's quarterback commit. Obviously, they've brought in guys, Seth Jones now, a wide receiver. Baylor's from Shadow Creek, and they've got, a 2022 commit from Shadow Creek. So, yeah, that'll be a great game.
And look, the college scouts will be wanting to film that game.
Yeah.
I mean, there's 15 guys in that game.
The only game that might have more Division I recruits is if it was North Shore and Duncanville. Yeah. And I'm not sure that's the case because those are 3 alpha dogs right there.
Yeah, that's a game that people are just going to want to watch.
I had a chance to visit with Jeff Hume yesterday afternoon. They, of course, have a Round Rock as a scrimmage, so to speak, this week, and then they open up in a couple of weeks. But they're all kind of those teams are all, some are going to play this week and some are not. Midway got postponed because of McLennan County. Yeah. Remember, they got pushed back a week, even when they got everything resomed with workouts.
Okay, so they're waiting another week.
And I think that's probably a big part of why their district went to that round north south.
They got in the same area. I don't know, Midway, Duncanville. And then Waco High, and I think it's Waxahachie, compared to the other one that has the Mansfield School, Cedar Hill, and I don't know who it is.
They still have
I think they might have gotten the better. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a big difference there. That's like the SEC West and the SEC East.
They still get Duncanville, but they don't have to play.
Yeah. And then I guess
they don't have to play the other ones until the end.
There used to be zones in back in the day. There used to be zones in high school football.
I think it's kind of lame to be in a district where, I'm sure Chef Hume loves it that you're not going to have to play, but as a fan, you get into this big district, you like DeSoto and this team and that team, and you're not even playing them all. That's kind of a downer.
It's crazy. All right, when we come back, 4:56, thanks to Armstrong and CJ running the mothership from behind the scenes, and we're live streaming as well on camera at 101 Elm Street. Paul Catalina, Craig Smoke, I'm David Smoke. Coming up in the 5 o'clock hour, we'll have part 2 of our sit-down interview with former Baylor head football coach and legend Grant Taft, and then much more to come, including the voice of the Cowboys in Brad Sham. How about that? Grant Taft and Brad Sham in the 5 o'clock hour, and this is Sikkim 365 Radio. Premium quality MRIs, convenient, affordable, and that is ideal. On average, an MRI can cost around $1,100 or more. Their cost at Ideal MRI, $497 or less every single time. So half of what you would pay of what is the average. Every scan performed on state-of-the-art machine. I have been in it. It is just like the ones you would find anywhere in America with the big, huge health systems. And read by a board-certified expert. Mine were also read by Dr. Rob Maxey. IdealMRI.com online. IdealMRI.com online. They're in the Central Texas Marketplace in Waco. Dr. Rob Maxey got my results, got my scan, actually sent me a little DVD or whatever you want to call it, a disc, and then went over it with me. And then I was able to share that with Dr. David Haynes, who performed my shoulder surgery, my rotator cuff surgery back in 2015. And what Dr. Maxey said and what Dr. Haynes said, both of them said the same thing. It's fixed. The cost for this MRI is fixed, it's transparent, and it's affordable. There are no down-the-road hidden costs that you're going to get. IdealMRI.com.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, specializing in diagnosis and treatment of any and all sport-related injuries, celebrating over a decade of service to Central Texas. They tackle all surgical and non-surgical problems that arise from an active lifestyle. Trust the doctors that Baylor trusts, and when injuries sideline you, don't wait for Monday. Join us at 8:30 on Saturday mornings for a post-game injury evaluation clinic. Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. We get you back in the game.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
What season is it? It's truck season at Allen Samuels. Ram trucks are raring to go, ready to work and play, and all feature the best deals of the year during Ram Power Days. Come get your brand new Ram Lone Star at Allen Samuels with 0% for 72 and no payments for 90 days. Or choose up to $9,250 in bonus cash and incentives. Ram, the highest pickup owner loyalty in America. Shop, apply, buy online. We deliver. Ram Power Days at Allen Samuels.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
How often have you said it's time to get in shape every day, every week, every month, maybe for as long as you can remember? How about starting today? I promise if you'll just join Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness now, you'll thank me later. Hi, this is David Smoke, offering a variety of 40 group exercise classes every single week, including boot camp on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5:15, plus spin, body shaping, Pilates, yoga, and bar. And oh, there's a free kids club as well. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness open Monday through Thursday, 5 to 10, Friday, 5 to 8, Saturday and Sunday, 7 to 7, and personal trainers, Christy London and Randall Corley. World-class tennis facility with pros Britt Coleman and Joe Rosa with lessons, camps, and special events. Spacious and clean workout rooms, locker room for men and women, both with a whirlpool and sauna, and now there's touchless bottle filling stations. No intimidation, tremendous camaraderie, and yes, you can do this, but you have to walk through the front door. It's time to react today, not tomorrow. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lake Shore Drive in Waco.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
Playing at the goal line. Brewer keeps it again.
The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments with financial advisor Tom Albers, staying in touch with you and your money through these difficult and changing times. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
I feel kind of lonely out here all of a sudden on this Sikkim 365 radio set, and CJ's working on making sure the tripods are where they're going to be, and Armstrong's trying to change his cell phone number. Paul Catalina and Craig Smoke are out grazing somewhere doing their thing. But here's this 5 o'clock hour. We're going to hear from Brad Sham, voice of the Cowboys, on that miraculous win yesterday. But earlier today, we had a great chance, the opportunity, and the honor. Anytime we get a chance to speak or visit with the great Grant Tapp, the legend himself, the icon of Baylor. And we had part 1 earlier. We will put both parts 1 and 2 up together on the site on Sikkim365.com. So we had the first segment, and he went over many things, including that AstroTurf story about asking for $250,000 from a booster that said, no, just call me, whatever you need. And he did, and he said, okay. we continue our conversation with the legend, Grant Teff, with Paul Catalina, Craig Smoke, and David Smoke on Sikkim 365 Radio.
When do you recall first meeting Dave Aranda? You've been very complimentary of him, but when did you first kind of have him on your radar? When did you first meet him, and obviously your impressions since he's taken the job?
Dave was a member of the American Football Coaches Association, and I met Dave through that organization. I headed that up after I left Baylor for 20 years. And so I, fortunately, knew all the coaches because they were in the organization, they were on committees, and I knew them all. And Dave, I had been very impressed with as an assistant coach. He had been at LSU, and I thought he was one of the best defensive coaches in the country. And so I'm extremely happy that Dave is here. Not only is he, I think, a great football coach, but he's the kind of man that we need to lead our Baylor football team. He has high character, integrity, and he is extremely smart.
You mentioned the AFCA. We've seen what has happened recently since COVID became a part of this country. You were the executive director of the American Football Coaches Association when 9/11 occurred. That was right in the middle of pretty much when you were heading that organization. What was that like? What was the initial reaction, and how did coaches decide what they were going to do? What were those discussions like?
Smoke, it was very fortunate for me that I was in an organization that had men in it that had been in the battle as players. They had fought for positions when they first started playing, maybe in high school, junior college, and then when they got into coaching, they had to fight for recruits, and then they had to learn how to prepare and fight against the opposition, whatever it might be. And so coaches are a unique breed of individuals because most of them have been through so very much in the preparation to get where they are. And when they get there, they are very stable, and most of them do a really outstanding job, Smoke.
Was there any question you were going to delay when 9/11 occurred, to go play the games or?
Yeah. Well, it was such a shock for everybody. And, we were all stunned. And then all of a sudden you began to try to figure out what to do. And I felt like the best thing we could do is to be as normal as we could, is to get on that football field, get those players out there active with focus on something that involves them. We can't do anything about 9/11 in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
And not anything we can do here in Texas or in Alabama or wherever it might be as coaches. But what we can do is we can teach the young men that we're working with to face adversity and face it with a positive attitude and be successful. And one of the best ways to do that is to play our game.
Get back to normalcy.
Get back.
Yeah.
Get to normalcy and play your game, and we're going to get past this. We're all going to be successful. We're all going to survive, and we'll get past it. So the worst thing you can do in a critical situation is panic. Absolutely, no matter what it might be. You have to remain controlled, and it's a great teaching moment when you have something like that, Smoke, because young people have their eyes and ears wide open, and they're watching to see what people do and how you handle it. And you do more teaching by how you handle yourself than what you say. And the same thing true with parents and children. Monkey see, monkey do. That's a very much way with children. And the same thing when you're coaching a football team, and even if you're coaching on the pro levels, and those guys are older and more mature, they still need that positive leadership and something that they can listen to and see that might give them the drive to do the things they need to do.
How impressed with you with coaches around the country who have had to keep their teams together through virtual meetings and Zoom? I know you've been on some Zoom meetings.
I've been on a lot of Zooms.
But for
I'm
coaches,
a Zoom king right now.
But for coaches to keep their teams together and build chemistry when you're not all in the same room, you're on a conference call.
Yeah, very difficult. Yeah, one of the things about coaching and as a parent is eyeballs, connection. And it's very difficult when you're in that situation. So you have to do the best you can with it. And hopefully you've prepared the individuals that you're working with to be able to handle adversity. And look at this as something, I can handle this. Now I've got to concentrate, though I can't see my coach, I've got to concentrate on what he's saying. And it really all is a part of the same.
Do you have any opinion on the way this season has unfolded? The Big Ten now deciding to come back, the Pac-12's having to push it back, but just all of the calamity as far as the conferences starting, pushing back, delaying all that. What have you just made of sort of the chaos, if you will?
Yeah, that's a great question because, what you see happen is college football is very unique in the sense that you have university presidents over the whole organization who has an influence. Then you come down, you have an athletic director that deals with other athletic directors across the nation. Then you have the head coaches and their responsibility, and then the assistant coaches and their responsibility. So in a crisis like this, leadership, as you look upward, the leadership, even with the President of the United States, how he reacts, how he handles things has an effect on all of us. And the same thing's true within an organization. Smoke, if the president of the university is a guy that panics and says, well, we can't do this or we can't do that, then you have to communicate with that president and sit down and talk with him and be able to encourage him to look at what you're trying to do with the team. And so that happens all the way down the line, whether it's athletic director, then gets down to head coach. It's not just a matter of what the head coach is going to do. There's a chain of command.
When you watch a game, do you watch it as a coach or do you watch it as a fan?
Coach.
You'll always, that's just in your blood.
That'll never change. And it's the reason I've looked at it so much through my lifetime, that I just, that's the way I look at it. That's the way I think about it. And I think most coaches do the same. I have a lot of friends that retired, and I think they all kind of look at it the same way.
And just because Superman doesn't have to fly up a building doesn't mean he's not going to fly, right?
That's right. That's a good point.
Grant Taff is our guest on Sikkim 365 Radio here in studio on 101 Elm Street on the corner of Martin Luther King and Elm Street. When I just say Baylor, what comes to mind?
Wow. Well, I think you'd have to put it on a big screen, and view it from left to right. And the images that I think of when I first came here was the wreck that it was. And what we as the coaching staff and the wonderful young men that committed to us when everything was drab and not looking good, and they could have gone to Texas and they could have gone to other places. They committed themselves to come here. I think of the coaching staff. They came here and looked around. They had better facilities than the high schools where they came from as head coaches. And so I think about them and the commitment that they made and the dream that we all followed. And then to be able to do that and succeed in 3 years in a powerful way was a big statement.
What is it about Baylor that they sometimes have their own self-inflicted problems, and yet they somehow find a way to bounce back? Is that the heart and soul of Baylor, that they find a way to survive and then get better?
Well, Baylor is whatever the people are. Mm-hmm. Baylor is the university. Baylor is the name that you see. And underneath that are the individuals across the campus that are doing what they do. But nothing is any better than the individuals doing it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. The individuals that are involved in it, that's who makes the difference. And it's like when we came in here, I surrounded myself with guys that came in that had been very successful, most of them in high school. And they joined me in really believing that we could do something with this place. And then we got these players, and all of a sudden they had this belief that they could do something. And then we won a championship in 3 years, and so all of a sudden, wham, it's a miracle on the Brazos. Yeah. But Smoke, it wasn't a miracle.
It's hard work.
It's hard work and belief in putting the right people in the right spot at the right time and surrounding yourself with the right people,
Yeah, I read about all those miracles in the Bible. They usually happen within the second or third page. Did you ever have a recruit that you knew was good, but it was you not stashed him, but you thought, oh man, I've got this guy, nobody else is in on him, and they turned out to be exactly what you thought?
Oh yeah, a lot of them, not just one or two, a lot of them, and and then people look back the other schools and said, how did we miss that, and but that is going back to what your philosophy is. First of all, I would not take anybody that did not have character that was evident. Not character that they said, oh yeah, I'm this kind of guy, but how did they live their lives? What was their background? What was their family like? And then you get those guys, and they've got an upside athletically. They're going to get better. And so 3 years, they're as good as the blue chip we couldn't get. We couldn't get any of those blue chips. Texas A&M got all of them. But then we ended up beating those guys with guys that came in and over a 3 or 4 year period developed. They developed because they were here. They weren't short term. So in order to be here at Baylor University, you have to be academically capable. That was one of the things we had to make sure. We couldn't bring in people that were going to be here 1 or 2 years. We had people that were going to be here for 4 years. So they had to be academically capable. They had to have a foundation of character. If they were going to be in the darkest part of night, you didn't have to worry about them. Wherever they were, I didn't have to worry about them because of the character that they individually had. And when you get that group together and they make a determination to do something, they'll do it. You tell them to do something and they'll do it. You work them as hard as you can work them and they'll do it because they believe that what you're doing is the right thing. And when they begin to believe that and you give them the opportunity to execute what you believe will work, and we had that, then you got success.
Do you remember the first time, and I want to ask you this because he's the only Heisman winner in Baylor history, but do you remember the first time you heard about Robert Griffin III and then your early interactions with him and obviously what he accomplished?
Yeah. Well, of course, I wasn't coaching. I wish I'd had Robert. But I felt like he had the character and certainly the athletic skills to do what he did. And he did that because of those things. He did have character, and he had very, very much athletic skills that he brought in, and then he developed. He got better while he was here. But no, I had a good relationship with Robert when he was here. I knew him, had a good relationship.
Well, and he's one of those bell cow, high character guys that you have to worry about in the darkest part of the night.
No.
When it is probably easier in the short term for coaches if they take a job and they don't have to worry about academic standards, and they can just kind of throw a wide net. But doesn't it make it difficult in the long term in that you cast this wide net and you don't have the standards that you set, and that you're going to have to maybe worry about these kids being gone in a year or 2 years or not doing it? Is it easier once you have your set of standards to recruit who you want?
Well, that goes back to what you initially recruit. what you want to bring in. You bring in guys that are short term. They may have the strong athletic skills, but they don't have the other things that go with them, and you're not going to have them very long. Mm-hmm. They might be here 1 or 2 years, and they're gone, and they're not going to graduate. And so we developed the concept that we can take the individual that has the upside and bring them in. They first of all have the character. They're going to be here. They want the education. They're going to be in class. You don't have to beat them to get them in class. And then they're going to develop their athletic skills, and that's what happened with us. And that's why people thought it was a miracle, and it was no miracle. It was a planned, executed operation to be able to win at a place that hadn't won.
As a coach, and if anyone else has a follow-up as well, Grant Taff with us on Sick and 365 Radio. The time that you get a player and then the time that you see their light come on. Yeah. The ones especially that weren't maybe highly recruited or somebody that just didn't quite get it at the beginning. Isn't that that and whatever a young man does later on in life, isn't that the excitement, the exhilaration other than winning of a coach?
Sure it is. And, as a coach, you really begin to love these players after you meet them, and you meet their families, and you see the circumstances from which they come and the potential to where they can go. And you have the opportunity to help them get there, to change their lives and change the lives of their families. And the thrill is to see them come in and listen to you and do the things they're supposed to do. Get in that classroom. Get that degree. Walk away from Baylor University with a degree. And then whatever next. If you're good enough to go play pro ball, bless you and go. But that's not the real goal. The real goal is to get the degree so that you can, in turn, make something of your life. Whatever you go into, if you want to coach, you want to teach, you want to go into business, whatever it is. But you get that foundation of a degree, and you've got a good chance to be successful.
In other words, the Grant Taff way.
Well, it worked.
It sure did. Thank you so much, man.
Hey,
we appreciate
it's a pleasure,
you.
my friend.
It's great to have you. Always,
always, my brother.
Always. Grant Taff, legendary Baylor football coach, legend as what he represents, the man that he is, on Sikkim 365 Radio. All right, so it's hunting season, right? And there's another season you'll be interested in called truck season at Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. They've got the Ram to hold all of your gear, to put all of your trailers and ATVs, and also it's truck season. It means it's time for the Ram Power Days. A fantastic deal on the amazing Ram Lone Star crew cabs, decked out with plenty of options, and get $9,750 in bonus cash or incentives, and also, in fact, incentives, or choose 0% financing for 72 months, no payments for 90 days as for approved credit. Plus, the Jeep Adventure Days continue as well. Allen Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, Loop 340, east of 84 in Waco.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
If you or a loved one or friend has been arrested and you can't afford bail, trust Terry and Chase Chapman at Chapman's Bail Bonds, covering Waco and McLennan County for over 25 years. Chapman's can bail you out anywhere with experienced, knowledgeable local agents who are committed to serving you professionally, respectfully, and with the highest integrity. Chapman's understands your privacy is important. Your freedom can be secured fast when you use Chapman's Bail Bonds. Open 24 hours a day. Payment arrangements available. Call Chapman's Bail Bonds. When you need help, 254-754-1603. When you ring, we'll spring.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recall drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com. Principal office located in Houston, Texas.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recall drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com. Principal office located in Houston, Texas.
It's the heat of the summer, but the real heat is what you're cooking on the grill, smoker, or in the oven. So Waco Custom Marketplace can be your go-to playmaker for summertime grilling. You can't go eat anywhere else? Be your own chef with custom ordered and cut ribeyes, sirloins, fillets, New York strips with a focus on high-quality beef at a competitive price. Waco Custom Marketplace also has fresh deli cuts with sliced turkey, ham, pepperoni, or corned beef. Waco Custom Marketplace also your home for the freshest seafood in town. Salmon, shrimp, mahi-mahi, great priced chicken products, whole birds, tenders, chicken breast, and wings. Waco Custom Marketplace with smoked items unique to Waco, house-made bacon, summer sausage, boudin, hot links, and German sausage. Every seasoning for every occasion, grilling, baking, or frying. Your hometown grocery store with canned goods, pasta, fresh baked bread, buns, chips, sauce, condiments to pickles, charcoal and lighter fluid, cold beer and wine, best kolaches in Waco, mouth-watering cinnamon rolls, and here for the community every single day, helping you avoid the long lines in crowded stores, serving quality products to the Waco community. Go online for the weekly value boxes. Family owned and operated Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
For the win.
They're done again.
No timeouts. Good snap. Good hold. 46 yards. Yes, sir. Kiss that pig. The final score, Dallas 40, Atlanta 39.
The Sikkim 365 Radio Live Guest VIP Hotline is sponsored by Stonewood Dental. We are all in this together.
All right, we continue this 5 o'clock hour. Thanks for the time from the great Grant Taft. And now we go from one legend to another. The voice of the Cowboys in Brad Sham. The three pigs right here, Craig Smoke, Paul Catalina, and David Smoke. You have seen some crazy. Where in the world is that crazy from yesterday?
You know, the thing that a lot of people have asked that, and the natural inclination is to say nothing beats that. And I'm not sure that's right because, for instance, the team record for biggest deficit overcome in a win is 21 points. The last time they did that was in 2014 against the St. Louis Rams. And I don't remember a thing about that game. I remember one play. I don't remember it. I remember that Anthony Hitchens made a great stop on fourth down. And I always thought that was a kind of a hallmark of who he was. And I did we're doing our Cowboys Hour network show tonight with Greg Zuerlein, and we had to record it because of his schedule. And he was playing for the Rams then. And I asked him, do you remember that game? And he said, I do. And I said, what do you remember about it? He said, not very much. He said, I remember Romo hit a big pass to somebody I don't even know who it was, right at the end of the first half, and even though we had a big lead, we kind of felt that was a bad sign. And so the point is, in the moment, I remember a game, and it wasn't, I don't know what the point differential was, Smokey, but to me, the point differential was part of the story, and the other part of the story is how absolutely wretched they were in the first quarter. And so I remember a game in Philadelphia on a Sunday or Monday night in either 2005 or 6, which they won. And they were horrendous all night long. And it was really pitiful. And at the end of the game, Roy Williams intercepted a pass from Donovan McNabb and returned it for a touchdown to win the game, and it was the only time they led all night. Now, I don't think they overcame 21 points, but I remember thinking that was so bad that you almost want to throw back that W. and that's how this was. Now, I was riding with Babe Laufenberg this morning. The salesmanship club at Dallas had a media scramble for the Byron Nelson this morning, and even though because the tournament's moving to McKinney to Craig Ranch, and so it's in May, but they did it today, and so I went out to ride with him, and he had not heard Charles Barkley's comments on TNT last night, and I found it and played it for him. And so there's 3 or 4 people in the groups, and we were talking about, Barkley said he doesn't give Dallas credit for anything. Somebody said, that's right, it was a choke job. Well, they had to make the plays now. They had to score all those points and get whatever stops they got, and Prescott had to do all the stuff he did, and Elliott was tremendous. And so, I give him credit for that, but the win was so ugly. And the reason I said kiss the pig at the end was after they recovered the onside kick, I had, and then maybe after they made one completion and they looked like they might be moving, and I remember saying something like, they're like 2 plays away from being in position to win this pig of a game. And then he made the kick, and I said, yeah, kiss the pig.
Yeah, no question.
It's our pig. It's our pig. We're just trying to put lipstick on it.
Brad, you mentioned how ugly a game it was, and especially the first quarter was as bad as I think I've seen them play in a long, long time. I was racking my brain for as poorly as they played. But how much can the emotion of that win carry them a little bit? Because it doesn't get easier. They got Russell Wilson next week, and he's on fire.
I think the one thing that it can do is make them, if they didn't already feel this, it can make them feel about Prescott the way great quarterback teams feel about their quarterback. Like if Seattle, those players would all tell you, we don't care how late in the game it is. If we've got Russ, we've got a chance to win. We believe we'll win. And, here, Staubach's players felt that way. Aikman's players felt that way. And so what it can do is give these players the sense that just get Dak the ball back. We'll figure something out. And, of course, it's not always going to happen this way. The flip side of that question, Paul, is if they go to Seattle and lose to what's probably a better team at the moment, does that break the bubble of confidence? Does it drive them right back to where they were before the fourth quarter of that game? Or not even the fourth quarter, the last 5 minutes. I forgot till I looked. Realized they were 14 points down with 4:49 to play, or 12 points down. You can't lose that game. Anyway, the flip side of the question is, if they lose this game, do they revert, or do they say, okay, that was one game and now let's go? And so I think that the part of that answer will be we won't see it because it'll be in practice this week, but it's going to require a bigger sample size. You know, they've got those 3 home games in a row over Seattle, and on paper, if paper means anything at all, you know, those are all games that they certainly can be in. I believe it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's Cleveland, maybe the Giants, and Arizona. And so on paper, those would be games, especially at home, that you would think they'd have a chance to win. Well, if they were to lose to Seattle and go 1-2, and then win those 3 and go 4-2, you could certainly make a case that the foundation for going to 4-2 would have been built in this game against Atlanta. So I think it takes more than just a week to answer it. But I will tell you that if they hadn't pulled it out, then, you know, you could have seen something ugly.
Brad, what do you think the biggest topic would have been had they not pulled that game out, started off 0-2, as far as what stood out to you that still remains an issue, something that still needs to be worked upon?
I think the issues would have been the very same things that they are up here today, and that is what the hell, defense?
Yeah.
And what the hell, McCarthy? And you know, how many times are you going to chase points and go for 2 and fake punts? And I mean, what? Those would have been the issues, whether they were correct or not. Those would have been the issues, and I believe those are still the issues.
Yeah,
they've got as our mutual friend, the late great Spike Dykes, used to say, they've got some doing to do.
Can you imagine the doing to do if you are 0-3, even with those games back to back to back? Isn't that kind of instant odds death, almost like no one had ever had 39 points and no turnovers and ever lost until Atlanta did yesterday?
Sure. But now, you know, it's then they could have come back and won 3 in a row and been 3-3. And, you know, it's not an enviable position, but someone's going to win this division.
Mm-hmm.
And it would appear that this is one of those years, and we've seen them in the last few, where, you know, okay, just hold your nose and give them their playoff ticket, whoever it is. But we're not. It doesn't look like we're going to have the winner of the Mr. America contest come out of this NFC East. Now, you know, it's early to say that, but it doesn't appear that way right now. And then once you're in, you're in. But 0-3 would be a very difficult hill to climb, and I think that it's important to understand that they still have difficult hills to climb. They have holes, and they've got to fix them. Everybody's got some, but right now they're not nearly the team that they hoped, expected, and intended to be.
Brad, they have so many injuries that right now, I mean, especially the guys on IR, it's not like you can do anything about that. You can't just hope that they're going to come back if they're out for a minimum of 3 weeks. And, you know, Lyle Collins not coming back at least until Game 4. Same with Sean Lee and all those other guys. But offensive line-wise, they won a game without their 2 starting tackles. Now, that's not something you want to do. Do you think they continue to make adjustments on what they do offensively to kind of get around that? Because there's no telling when they're going to have both those guys back.
Well, I'll feel better equipped to answer the question, Paul, after I've looked at the tape. And I have a feeling that Brandon Knight played fairly decently at left tackle. McCarthy was actually kind of effusive about him after the game yesterday. And I know I don't think Terrence Steele played as well, but I thought that he played pretty well in LA for a rookie free agent in an opener. And so he had a couple penalties yesterday. I don't think he was quite as solid. Here's the thing about that IR. The guys on our flagship station up here asked me that today about, you know, they lead the league in IR, and that's true. But remember, IR is different this year because, first of all, you can have a guy back in 3 weeks. And second of all, you can bring people back off it as many times as you want to. And so some of these injuries that put guys on IR might not have been IR injuries in other years where you could only bring 2 guys back and you had to have them out for 6 weeks. So you say, like, for instance, correctly, of course, that Lyle Collins can't come back till week 4. Well, guess what? We're now in week 3. So I don't know what his physical status is. Sounds like Tyron is kind of day-to-day throughout the week, and we'll see what happens with him. But the answer to the question, how long till you get those guys back, might be 2 weeks. And what's really crippling for a team is some of these things that you're seeing around the league. You know, Saquon Barkley's out for the year. Jimmy Garoppolo's got a high ankle sprain. That's usually about 6 weeks. And Bosa is probably out for the year. And so a lot of that is happening. And, they missed Van Der Esch, and that was a tough break. But I think that they will have possibly both Van Der Esch and Lee by mid-season. Jarwin looked like a huge loss, and I do think that's a loss, but Dalton Schultz had a good game yesterday. And so who knows? Maybe they have a tight end weapon that they didn't know they had. So everyone is going to have these injuries, and you're just going to have to fight through them. And it does matter. Mike Nolan, the defensive coordinator, was just on a conference call I was listening to, and he said something that I believe for a long time. Everybody says next man up, and that's fine, and that's good, and it's correct. But starters are starters for a reason. And so when a key guy is out, that hurts you. Leighton Vander Esch is a starter for a reason, and so you can say next man up, and Joe Thomas did the best he could, and he had a pretty good game. But he's not Leighton Vander Esch, and if he was, he'd be starting ahead of him. And so you have to, like Awuzie now got a hamstring, and it sounds like that this crew is, by crew I mean coaching staff. It sounds like they're going to be like Bill Belichick and every hockey coach when it comes to injuries. We'll see. We'll get an evaluation at some point here. He's got a lower body injury, which can be anything from, I mean, he could have an ingrown toenail or a broken hip, and they're both lower body injuries.
Yep.
So I don't think we're going to get a lot of help from them. But the injury thing, I mean, they've lost Jarwin for the year, and they're going to be half a year without Van Der Esch and Lee. But other than that, if they get Collins back on schedule in 2 weeks, then, if they don't have anything else that happens, then they're really better off than a lot of teams. And meanwhile, guys are going to get opportunities, and you're just going to have to work through them.
Brad, you kind of referenced it a little while ago, but have you been surprised by how much, I guess, gambling Mike McCarthy has done with some of his decision makings? And, I know that Kellen Moore's in charge of the offense, but when people do criticize the offense despite Dak's heroics yesterday, is that more on Kellen Moore and what he's doing, or do you think Mike McCarthy also shoulders some of that as well?
When they criticize the offense?
Right.
I think there were. Look, how many people live in Texas?
Oh my God,
a few
millions.
Yeah,
millions.
Millions. That's how many offensive coordinators without jobs.
Correct.
And so, last week they ran too much on first down, and they used too much or too little motion, depending upon which expert and analytics book you looked at. And then I don't know if there could be a criticism this week other than fumbling the ball, because they threw the ball downfield, and I think their offense will be fine. Now, McCarthy as a gambler, I don't know that he had that reputation. I don't think that the not going for the field goal in Los Angeles it's a hanging offense, like most people seem to, because there were 11 minutes left in the game. That's practically a whole quarter. And it really was not a bad call. The great Ernie Zampese used to say, I'll never forget when I came back to the broadcast in 1998 and he'd taken over as the offensive coordinator and I didn't know him. So I went to his office in the spring and he always had these 3 pens that he played with. He was like a baton twirler with these pens. He'd moving them in and out of his fingers at the same time. So I'm trying to get to know him. So I said, Ernie, what constitutes a good call to you? And he said, if it works.
Yeah.
And so I completely appreciate and understand that answer, but I don't necessarily agree with it. I don't think that the CD Lamb didn't run the route deep enough, and Schultz probably needed to push a defender further into the traffic so that the safety had more to come through. But in theory, that play works. And I believe that he was looking at an offense that was moving down the field. And what he saw was an opportunity to really ignite his team and get some momentum. And with 11 minutes left in a close game, so you kick the field goal and tie the game, which I would have done. Kick the field goal, tie the game. Has that guaranteed anything? We still got 11 minutes to play.
Right.
So to me, that's not a fireable offense. I've never been a fan of chasing points early, and I thought Dallas and Atlanta both put themselves in more dire straits than necessary by doing that yesterday, by going for 2 at a certain time. And I read his answer. I read Mike's answer about why he went for 2 instead of the 1, and I think I'm simply not smart enough to understand.
Well, his answer though, you still have to kick it onside kick if you don't get it at either point. So there.
Well, but his answer is predicated on not missing the 2-point conversion later.
Yeah.
So what he's saying is, I want to know if I'm going to have 1 possession or 2. Okay. And the counterpoint to that would be, yes. And if you kick the extra point, you know the answer to that. It's 1 possession.
Yeah.
And that, of course, does presume that you make the 2-point conversion. And then if you don't make it, then you have to do the onside kick. But the whole thing about a possession, 8 points being a 1-possession game, means in theory you score a touchdown and make the 2-point conversion, which is at your option now. Once upon a time that wasn't the option, but now it is. And so that makes it a 1-possession game if you make the 2-point conversion. So that's always. So I've never really been a big fan of chasing points early. And the fake punts, which I think they go through. I think that Fossil has the right to call those, but McCarthy has approved them during the week. And I think the one that Chris Jones didn't make a good throw on, that's an execution error. That's not a bad call to me. It didn't work out, but I would trust Chris Jones to make that throw certainly 8 times out of 10, if not 9. And it was a really good call because Goodwin was wide open. Now, the other one, and Fossil got on that conference call today, he said, I thought it was a good call. I would do it again. Well, okay, good for you. You're way more experienced and better at this than me. But, they needed 5 yards, and they ran an inside run. And it's not like Fossil's sneaking up on anybody anymore ever. So, people are looking for his stuff, and so I have a little bit of an issue with that one. I don't know that I would have done that. And I think that you can make the case that if you want to go for it, go ahead and put the offense back on the field. So all of this is to answer your question about McCarthy as a gambler. I think that he is someone at the guys at the flagship station asked me this morning how I would describe him, and I said I think unconventional would be one word that would come immediately to mind. And the blame, the responsibility, look, that always goes with the head coach. You are, as Babe likes to say this, and I think he's 100% right, you are accountable even if you're not responsible, if you're in charge. So sometimes a player doesn't do his job or an assistant coach screws something up. And the plan was great. They used to say about Landry that, and it was kind of a joking reference, but I think it was true. They used to say that Tom had a kind of a secret resentment against the players for screwing up his perfect plans. I'm not sure that was wrong. So, McCarthy's the head coach, and so he bears responsibility for anything that goes right and wrong.
Like Dan Quinn has to do now because of what happened at the end of that game. Yeah. Hey, Brad, thank you as always. You have called some crazy, no question about it. And yesterday was a part of that crazy. Thanks for your time.
Yeah,
Thanks for everything you guys do.
Oh, you bet. If I ever do write another book, that'll be in it.
No question. That's Brad Sham, voice of the Cowboys. We had Babe Laufenberg on last week. Of course, the great Christy Scales with what she does as well on Sikkim 365 Radio. Back to wrap up the show in a moment. Live at 101 Elm and MLK on Sikkim 365 Radio.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Hey,
It's time to stretch your legs. Jeep Adventure Days are here at Allen Samuels. Get special financing on the granddaddy of Jeeps, Jeep Gladiator. Now at 3.9 for 72 and no payments for 90 days. Grab hold of Jeep's rugged subcompact, Jeep Renegade with 0% for 72. No payments for 90 days. Or choose up to $5,750 in cash. Let's get going with amazing deals from your friend in the car business, Allen Samuels.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
The Sikkim 365 Radio app is sponsored by Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
All right, here we go. This Monday show, September 21st, winding through many things, including the great Grant Tapp a couple of different times with us. The Willis Law Firm chat room was busy today. Earlier, I just asked the question, what's on your mind right now? And Heiko Bear, do we play Saturday? Jane Harville, KU, like Heiko Bear said an amazing Cowboys comeback. And then she brought up that 440-0 stat. Also, Waco Bear, watching this interview with Grant Tapp is fantastic. Watching his facial expressions, hand gestures, love me some Sikkim 365 TV, thank you. And then Shooter TX, does Baylor use the new rapid test for coronavirus? If not, why not? And they do use the rapid test. And then BU Bear in Arkansas, Coach Tapp is amazing and honest. He was fantastic. We were glad to have him in the studio today. All right, now, here's one note. The Stars game 2 tonight?
Yeah.
Is it tonight?
Yeah.
Oh, they won 3-1 game 1 against Tampa, 4-1.
Yeah.
This is from Matthew DeFranks of the Dallas Morning News. The Dallas Stars have now won 15 games inside the Rogers place. Edmonton, who's that home ice, won 17. Now, a lot of the season was torn to shreds, but by coronavirus, but that is interesting.
But that game the other night, they, Tampa's a really talented team. To watch it, and again, I've only really picked it up in these playoffs here. Tampa's a little banged up, and they didn't have as much time off as the Stars did, so the Stars took advantage of that.
Yeah, they had to play 2 extra games, and both of them overtime.
Yeah, they scored an empty net goal at the end of the game because Tampa was in that spot, so it was a pretty impressive game, and the only goal that Tampa scored was off the skate of a Stars player. So,
it's interesting. I don't know if you have a chance, and you did not get a chance to hear from Dave Aranda, and I had an opportunity to visit with him earlier today, a little bit after 11 o'clock. When I asked him about the names of positions on defense, I'm not sure if you guys got a chance to listen, but when he went into that coach mode, like naming players on defense and the various names that used to be Mike for middle linebacker, Will for weak side linebacker. And then he started going into Kansas and buck sweep and attack A tight, O nose, 2-4 I, inside shaded, big. He went coach, and I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. And I thought, again, that we're seeing a lot more of him as we get to hear from him. Remember, there's a long time we didn't get to hear from him. As he is becoming more and more comfortable, as we get to know more and more about him.
I mean, that's all great. I want to see what he looks like as a head football coach.
Yeah.
I mean, the talking's great, but I want to see him walk the walk now and see this staff walk the walk. And I know they're chomping at the bit to do it. I know the players are chomping at the bit to do it. But, I mean, I think, my feelings on Aranda haven't changed. I mean, I've been impressed with him throughout. I think, maybe he's turning some heads now a little bit more just because he has become, as you say, more comfortable, a bit more talkative, and just who he is, what he's saying, and what have you. But, I've long felt the confidence that emanates from him and that staff. But, now I want to see him on the dadgum sideline coaching a football game and showing us what he's going to be like as a head coach, because he's told us in some ways, but there are just things that, you've got to actually go out and do, and that talking's not going to really show you anything. So the talking's been great, but I'm ready for the action, and hopefully That's this Saturday.
Yeah, in fact, that's one of the text line questions today from Carl Campbell, the Riverbend Liquor and Wine text line. My question for you about Baylor. If this weekend's game is canceled due to COVID, when does Baylor consider canceling the season? I only ask because even if they went out, they would be considered for the Big 12 championship. Would they be considered for the championship due to the amount of games?
Yes.
Yes, if they were to play 6 games and maybe everyone else only plays 7 or 8. Yeah, if they're 6-0, because if we put the same record with different jerseys, different names, we wouldn't feel that way.
Yeah.
Now, they do need to play a damn game. I mean, it's now, you're talking some are going to have 2 or 3 under their belt here pretty soon.
Yeah. Now, normally I wouldn't, give this advice. I don't know if I would or not, but I did it in my column today on the Weekend Review. That's up on Sikkim365.com. But we can ask all these questions. We know what the rules are, and the rules aren't going to change. The only thing that could happen would be a cancellation of the season. My advice to you, instead of tying your head up in knots about all this stuff, is just roll with it, and let's accept what we get, and we'll sort it all out at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing we can do about it right now. There's nothing. Yeah. I saw that tweet that somebody sent to you about Mike Norvell, and you can wrap your head around that, but I guess we'll see if Florida State rolls out and plays against Miami this week. You can't do anything about it until it happens. You can be mad, you can be confused, and that's all fine. This is what this year has been. But don't try to, do the equation in your head, because it's not. You're never going to find it.
Well, we all knew that there was going to be cancellations and delays and everything this season. We all knew that. Maybe we didn't admit it to ourselves, but we all knew that. So this is not a surprise in any way that there have been some teams that have had a harder time getting going than others. And no, they're not going to cancel Big 12 play because the only remaining games left are against Big 12 teams. So those Big 12 teams would also not be playing that weekend. And if Baylor's missing, 3 more weeks, then that's 3 teams that aren't playing another game. So no, they're in contention still and will be. But at some point they need to play a football game because everybody else has pretty much gotten started now.
Yeah, and Kansas again had 1 under their belt and then an off week, and so you think they would be better. They lost to Coastal Carolina, but who knows? They've played a game. Thanks to CJ. Thanks to Armstrong, his cell phone number. I'm not going to do that because I have the wrong one. Thanks to Craig Smoke and Paul Catalina, our great sponsors. I can't thank the Taft family enough for dropping by our new studio. Grant Taft, the legend. Kevin Hoffman, Mart football coach Greg Jacobs of Crawford. Those 2 teams combined are 8-0. Baylor's head coach Dave Aranda. Also thanks to Brad Sham, voice of the Cowboys, for dropping in today. And we have we're loading up a pretty good guest lineup for tomorrow as well. Thank you for listening. Those of you on the text line, those of you as well on the chat room, those of you who are part of everything you do to give us information. I'm David Smoke. Good night from Sikkim 365 Radio headquarters.